Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another live stream where we will be researching one of the fights that takes place this weekend at UFC on ESPN Plus 24. And I'm interested to jump into this fight because last week wasn't very good for betting. There were hardly any solid opportunities for us to put our money. But this week, I've already researched two fights and I've already found two bets. So I am looking forward to researching this fight because I think there might be a good betting opportunity on this one as well. So I'm very glad that I am able to share my research with you guys on this one. So I'm just going to check all my setup just to make sure that we are working. We are live. Excellent, we are. And yeah, boys, this is going to be a very busy week for us this week. We have got UFC on ESPN Plus 24 on Saturday night. We've also got Bellator 238. Sergio Pettis and Cyborg making their Bellator debut this weekend. So it's a very, very busy week for us. I'm not going to be able to put much content out on YouTube this week. I'll probably be able to get 3 or 4 of like these live research videos out, and then we'll do like one short breakdown video on maybe the main event. But I am stacked this week, super busy. Not much time to put out content, but I will be live streaming every day on my website if you want to join in these fight research sessions with me, because I'll be live streaming my research for every single fight this week. Roll the mouse over community, go to live streams, and that is how you find me. We've already spent quite a bit of time live streaming over the last 2 days, digging up some quality bets. And I'm hoping to dig up another quality bet on this fight between Herbert Burns and Nate Landwehr. So part of my weekly routine researching these events is every Monday morning I wake up, I look on Twitter to just see what the general vibe is around the fights for the upcoming weekend. And a lot of people last week were saying that Ode Osbourne was a great bet, so that was one of the first fights that I researched. Obviously, we looked at some of his past fights, we realised Ode Osbourne actually wasn't very good. So you have to take the public feeling with a pinch of salt, because most people just wiki cap fights. They don't take the time to actually look at the footage. So Ode Osbourne still have no reason. I still have no idea why anyone would bet Osbourne last week based on his past fights. But quite often the public are right, and this week everyone is saying that Nate Landwehr to beat Herbert Burns is a good bet. And I am excited about researching this one today because I've already watched some of Herbert Burns' fights in the last hour, and I'm not that impressed at all. Absolutely not that impressed, to be honest. So it'll be interesting. I don't know anything about Landwehr, but from what I've seen in Herbert Burns' past fights, I'm not going to have to see much in order to pull the trigger on Landwehr. So what I thought we could do is we'll take a look at some X factors from both guys. Remember, I'm researching this fight with you guys right now on the fly. You know what I mean? Like, I've watched some of Herbert Burns' past fights, which are copyright protected, that we can't watch together on this stream. But that's pretty much all I've done. So Herbert Burns is the brother of Gilbert Burns. You can see he trains at Hard Knocks 365. Here we've got him alongside his brother Gilbert, Gokhan Saki in the middle, and Vitor Belfort. But what I would say about this guy is, don't fall into the trap of assuming this guy is brilliant based on his brother. We've seen Khabib Nurmagomedov's cousins and brothers not look anywhere near as good as Khabib. It could be argued that Sergio Pettis never reached the same heights as his brother Anthony Pettis. So it's important to look at this guy just like he were any other fighter, and not consider that he is actually the brother of a very, very high level UFC welterweight in Gilbert Burns. So this guy trains at Hard Knocks 365. Both guys are taking this fight on a full camp, so no short notice shenanigans or anything like that. In terms of Nate Landwehr, he is an M1 global champion. Haven't checked out his Instagram yet to see where he trains. Is this the dude, Nate the Train? Or is this the dude? Let's have a look if we can find him. So here he is. So 3-time N1 global champion. Very impressive. M1 is a difficult promotion to do well in. Here he is. Seems a little bit crazy, not going to lie. And I'm not sure where he trains. So we can have a little fish through here. See if we can find out. Who have we got in this picture? So this looks like what's the guy's name that fought recently against Marc-Andre Barrios. That's what this guy looks like. Does he train at Korean Top Team? He does, yeah. He trains at Korean Top Team, which is quite interesting. Which is, this guy in the middle. Is it Jun Yong Park? I think this guy in the middle is Jun Yong Park. Maybe he travels around a lot of different gyms. Interested stuff. Can't really find too much information on his training. He seems to travel around a lot, which isn't good. It's not a good thing. This is Jun Yong Park, so more footage of him at Korean Top Team. Interesting guy, an American trainer, Korean Top Team, fights in M1 Global. But if he's an M1 Global champion, most M1 Global champions I've ever seen have been legit as hell. So if we look at the current odds on this fight, we've got Herbert Burns at around about current average of 2.0. Landwehr slightly worse than that at 1.87. So if you wanted to bet on Herbert Burns, you've got to cap him in the 55 to 60% range, because his current odds of 2.0 plus 100 carry an implied probability of 50%. So to get any value, you need to cap it at 55 to 60. With Landwehr, with his current average odds being around, call it 1.87, that would give him an implied probability of minus 115 it wouldn't. It would be moneyline odds of minus 115 for an implied probability of 53%. So in order to bet Landwehr here, you'd want to be capping him at close to 60%. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk you through what I've noticed about Herbert Burns' skill set so far from the fights that I've watched, and then what we'll do, we'll catch up on any comments, any questions you guys have got on the live chat from Twitch, Mixer, or YouTube. This is a live stream right now, and then we'll catch up with all your questions, and then what we will do, we'll go into watching some of this fight footage today. I'm very, very interested to get into this fight, because from what I'm seeing, Landwehr could be a great bet, because Burns is just not very good, guys. So I've watched these 3 fights just prior to starting this live stream, and we're going to watch one of his fights together. But the problem is, the fight that we're going to watch together is from all the way back in 2017, which is almost 3 years ago now. So I'm sure Burns has improved a lot since then. But I thought we could play it and watch it together, just to give you guys a general sense of what Burns is bringing to the table. And then obviously you've got to account for the fact that he probably has improved quite a bit. But he is 31 years old, so it's not like, 3 years ago he would have been 22, 23, 24 years old, and he's going to show up looking like a completely different fighter. At this stage in a fighter's career, they don't improve. They improve at a decent rate because they're hitting their prime, but they don't improve as a higher rate as someone maybe in their early 20s. So from watching these past 3 fights, I could tell you that Burns isn't dangerous at all standing. Doesn't really have any power in his hands. He's quite an insecure striker. You'll see him kind of like ducking his head away from his opponents and stuff in weird angles, weird positions. He doesn't like to exchange, doesn't like to get hit. Bad striking defense, doesn't really have the best footwork. And you could probably guess, with his brother being Gilbert Burns, that this guy is a grappler. And by any means necessary, he wants to get this fight to the ground. Now, it's difficult to assess his offensive wrestling, because within these 3 fights that I watched, he didn't really shoot that many takedowns. When he did shoot like 1 takedown in these 3 fights, he did get the takedown, and his takedown entry was very nice. It was a very nice deep double leg shot, but his opponent gave up the takedown very, very easily and then accepted Herbert Burns establishing a dominant position. So it's kind of like the jury's out on his ability to get the fight to the ground, because you see here, you're probably thinking, well, how come if he's only succeeded with 1 takedown in these last 3 fights, how come he's won all 3 fights by submission? Well, because he's predominantly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, he always looks for opportunities to pull guard. So any opportunity to go to the ground, if his opponent shoots a takedown on him, he'll immediately go to his back, because he wants to be on his back working his guard, and he'll also pull guard if he can get anywhere near his opponent. So I think this guy, Abak Nursate, he was actually doing pretty well. He was, winning the stand-up exchanges, picking Burns apart standing. And I actually think Nurse 8 took Burns down in round 2 for some strange reason and ended up getting submitted. So, based on the fights that we've watched, when we start to research Landwehr's last few fights, and the great thing about researching Landwehr is, I believe, his last 3 fights are available online. So he's spent a good amount of time in the octagon against a good amount of time in the ring or the cage against a decent level of opponent in M1 Challenge. So we're going to get to learn quite a bit about, Landwehr and what he brings to the table. And we know exactly what Burns brings to the table. His, like I say, his offensive wrestling, it's a little bit hard to judge because he hasn't used a great deal of it. And again, this is a little bit of an assumption, but, betting on MMA is all about trying to make the best decision possible with sets of incomplete information. It's a bit of an assumption, but if the guy was a strong offensive wrestler, in my opinion, there would be no need for him to pull guard so frequently. So the fact that he is so willing to pull guard and he does do it so often signals to me that Burns probably isn't the strongest wrestler. And again, that's a bit of an assumption. They say assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. But again, what I always say to people is whenever you have a fight like this where both guys are roughly at even money, you're never going to have all the information that you need to make the best decision possible. But that's okay, because at even money, there's a decent payoff. You can make some allowances. As long as you can as long as you can lean heavily one way or the other, it doesn't matter if there might be some significant risk factors, because if you can lean one way pretty heavily in a fight which has got roughly 50-50 odds, over the long term, hopefully you should win a hell of a lot more bets of this type than you lose, and therefore make a profit. But obviously, when you are dealing with big gaps in information, for example, like Herbert Burns' offensive wrestling, you're also gonna lose a lot more of these kind of bets, right? It's a no-brainer. So anyway, that's what I've found about Herbert Burns. So before we go into watching some footage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just catch up on all the comments in the live chat, and let me know, man. Let me know if you've got anything you want to talk about, and then we'll get into watching some footage. So Sander is saying, is this live on YouTube? You a Twitch dude? Dude, I'm live everywhere. I don't, what's the word I'm looking? I don't discriminate, man. I'm everywhere. You can catch me on YouTube, youtube.com/Diary of a Pro Gambler, twitch.tv/Diary of a Pro Gambler, and mixer.com Diary of a Pro Gambler. We stream simultaneously on all 3 platforms, so you can watch me wherever you want. The user experience, in my opinion, is much better on Twitch, but hey, if you want to watch on YouTube, that's up to you. I stream everywhere, man, so this is also being broadcast live on Mixer and Twitch. David Pickard, bro, thank you very much, man, for saying you like my content, mate. I love your positivity, dude. Thanks a lot for watching, man. It means a lot. Rodrigo Sard is saying, let's go, my Manda. Yeah, man, let's do it, dude. Let's do it. David Pickard has said, been waiting ages for you to come on Twitch or YouTube. Nice one, mate. Oh, nice one, Aldo Estrada. Cheers, dude. FIFA XX Gaming said, can I watch this live stream back? Yeah, so what happens is, once the video is done being broadcast, YouTube then processes the video, which takes like an hour or 2, and then it gets uploaded on my channel as like a normal video, and YouTube does all that stuff automatically, so it will be up later. Rob Waddell has said, I'm thinking the 2 Hills for a double. Are there 2 Hills fighting this weekend? Angela Hill, Jamal Hill. So what's cool, boys, what is cool is, well, have the odds already started to move on Jamal? I don't know anything about this guy. No, they're staying roughly the same. So you know what I said about this being a really busy week for me, because we've got Bellator and UFC on ESPN plus 24. I won't be able to put out many like traditional breakdown videos this week because they take too much time to plan, too much time to record, too much time to edit, and I just don't, literally, there's just not enough hours in the day this week. But the great news about that Jamal Hill fight is I think there should be a bunch of footage on him available from outside of the UFC. There is. So we'll actually be able to do a live research video on the Hill versus Stosic fight on YouTube, Twitch, just like we're doing now. So maybe we'll do this one tomorrow, boys. We'll jump into this one tomorrow, which will be a really good one to research, because again, this is the kind of odds range I like to play in, where both guys are close to about even. As if you can lean heavily one way, I say you'll lose a lot of these bets because you're betting on competitive fights. But as long as you win a lot more and you lose over the long term, it's all good, man. It is all good. Hey Andy, man, hope you're okay, dude. David Pickard has said, is there exclusive streaming on your website? Yes, dude. So basically, we have got 18 fights this week. We've got 12 on the UFC, 6 on Bellator. We've only got odds for 4 fights at the moment on Bellator, but they will be releasing another 2. There's a women's MMA fight on the main card. Raymond Daniels is also fighting on the main card of Bellator this week. So what I basically do, I live stream my research like this for every single fight. So I'll be doing 18 live streams this week. It all gets broadcast on my website. If you just go to the live streams page, we've got our own live streams page there. And the reason why I don't broadcast the long live streams on here is because quite often the research videos are literally like 3 or 4 hours long. So for example, if I show you, oh no, do I need to log in? Yeah, the live stream videos are like 3 or 4 hours long. So if I take you to the live stream archive for last week's event, if we go all the way down to the bottom here, we go into this one, you can see that we just go deep on every fight. So we've got like a 2 hour, 20 minute long video on Pettis Ferreira, 2 hour, 10 minutes on Olenek Green, 3.5 hours on this fight, 4 hours on this fight, 3 hours on this fight, 2 hours on this fight, 2 hours on this fight, and 2 hours on this fight. So if I uploaded these videos to my YouTube channel would literally die, because very, very few people actually enjoy watching long form content, which basically means that like my analytics and my viewing stats and everything would be shit. But if you do like long form content, I live stream literally every day on my website, and I will be live streaming after this live stream. We'll jump into some more of the fights on Bellator or the UFC after this. Michaelis Kurizides is saying good words about Modar Fieri. I bet her €10 for fun. Boys, man, I know, boys, I know. What I couldn't believe was this bet here. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, is it gone? It's gone. Where's it gone? Where can I find it? What I couldn't believe was how close we came to hitting that prop bet on Modar Fieri. Where is it gone? Here it is. How close we were to hitting that prop on Modar Fieri. We had Roxanne to win by knockout or TKO at 28.5. I was like, kick her in the leg. Just let her stand up. If Roxanne literally would have just made Barber stand back up in that third round, the referee or the doctor would have been forced to stop the fight because Barber couldn't stand up. Like literally, all Roxanne had to do was let Macy stand back up, and we would have hit this giant underdog bet, which was really annoying because obviously, like, if you just hit one of these bets, you're free rolling on like the next 2 events, man. You know what I mean? You can bet every single fight on the next 2 events and not have to worry. So, yeah, a little bit annoying how we missed out on that. But Roxanne's too kind, man. She was like, oh, no, I didn't even think of kicking her in the leg. It's like, God damn. David Pickard saying he bet on McGregor in 60 seconds. Nice one, man. Very, very nice, dude. Jess Rami has said, could you start putting your picks in the description of your prediction video? Would appreciate it, bud. No, dude, there's actually a very good reason why I am not going to put my picks in the description. I know 2 hours is a very, very long amount of time for a prediction video. And people ain't got time to listen to it. I know it's all good, but a lot of people do like long form content. The reason why I'm not going to put picks in the description is, again, YouTube measures, or YouTube basically decides your ranking on YouTube, right, by a bunch of different metrics. So, the amount of subscribers you've got, how many likes you're getting per video, how much time people spend watching your videos. So if I just put my picks in the YouTube descriptions, you're going to get a bunch of people that'll just click on my video, scroll to the picks in the description, note them down, and then leave without watching the video, and that'll completely destroy my channel analytics, which will make it really hard for me to get ranked on YouTube. And I want to get ranked on YouTube, man, because I put a lot of work into this and a lot of time, and I want maximum maximum reward for the amount of effort I'm putting. So I'm not leaving out picks from the description to be a total bastard, but if I did that, it would completely fuck up all the hard work that I put in recording, editing, uploading these videos, researching these fights. So that is the reason why I'll never ever ever put picks in the description, just because it'll fuck all your channel metrics up. I can't say this guy's name, because, dude, you know who you are, dude, right? And I love you, man. I absolutely love you, 420, dude. I love you because you always join my live streams, man. You always leave a comment, dude, right? I love you, 420, but I can't say your username, bro, because I'm not used to this whole speaking thing on camera, and I will definitely mispronounce your username, and I'll end up like social justice warriors will kill me. But yes, mate, I think Brett Johns matches up pretty well with Tony Gravely, mate. So, Johns could be a good bet for this weekend, man. You could be a good bet. It's going to be a tough fight. Both guys are very good, but Johns is a little bit special. Master by Jazz saying Nate reminds me of Nate Diaz on the feet. I mean, that would be a good thing. That would be a very good thing. Jess Rami is saying, is Arnold Allen still on the card, or is his fight cancelled? Yeah, he's still on the card. He's fighting Nick Lentz now. Bab, catch Allsop outside. How about that? Arnold and the Two Hills. People are liking for a parlay. Bab329 is saying, did the UFC 246 card turn out profitable for you? So, yeah, I did alright on live betting, man. I had 2 live bets and I won both of them. I had one pre-fight bet on Nasrat Haqparast. I got in super early a few weeks ago when he was around about 1.44, and he got knocked out within a minute. So pre-fight betting sucked, but it's just one bet. It was one of those cards where there's not many decent opportunities. I kept it really tight, only had one bet, lost the one bet that I had, but hopefully now these events will start to pick up, because I feel like the events we've had over the last month or two haven't been that great, like that Korean card and stuff, the Mexico City card. So I'm hoping they start to pick up now, give us a few more opportunities. But yeah, little profit on live betting, little loss on pre-fight betting, so pretty much a non-event for me, to be honest. Hopefully we'll do better this week though. Rodrigo Saad said, do you think something was wrong with Haqparast? He looked extremely aggressive. Yeah, man, I always say, this is why making money betting on MMA is so difficult, because the reason why we bet on Haqparast was because of his striking defense, right? He's extremely difficult to hit. I mean, we even put stats in there. He spent 5 minutes in the octagon against Joaquim Silva. Joaquim Silva didn't land a single head strike, and Haqparast did a great job of making him miss. Silva only landed 26% of strikes. Similar story with Gouti. He only landed 27% of strikes. These stats are wrong. It says that Gouti landed 56 head strikes, but if you go back and watch the fight, you'll see that Haqparast caught the vast majority of those strikes on his hands or his arms when he was blocking punches with a high boxing guard. So that was Gouti probably landed closer to 20 head strikes. And then it was a similar story against Mark Diakiese. Haqparast, excellent defensively, did a great job of making Diakiese miss. And Diakiese only landed 22% of significant strikes, which was pitiful. And if you come onto my website, you can read the breakdown for the fight. The reason why I really liked Haqparast in this matchup was because Drew Dober is very aggressive and he does hit very hard, but he's one of these guys that just steams forward and then wings hooks. And in order for a guy like Dober to be successful with that style, his opponent's got to stand right in front of him. If you go back and watch any of Nasrat's fights against guys like, Joaquim Silva, who's aggressive, Diakaze, who's aggressive, every time they would come forward and attack him, he would go to the high boxing guard and then circle away from them, reset in the centre of the cage, and then use his superior technique to pick them apart. That was the complete opposite from what he did against Dober. Literally from the very first second against Dober, instead of every time Dober came forward, going to the high boxing guard and circling away from Dober, he kept trying to meet Dober head on and win these crazy exchanges with him. I think within the first 30 seconds, he slipped one of Dober's punches and threw a left jab and then attempted a right uppercut, but he was off balance and he kind of slipped to the ground. He got a bit of reaction from the crowd. I think some people in the crowd thought he got knocked down. And at that point, I was like, oh, great. Because we bet on a guy that is insanely disciplined to the point where no matter how many times people come forward and attack him, he always goes to the high boxing guard and circles away. So we've gone from a guy who fights super cautiously and strategic against, these three dudes we've seen from him in the past. And then as soon as he fights a guy who actually does have the power to hurt him, the type of guy that does have the power to shut his lights off in a split second, he chooses to get into these crazy exchanges. And I'm just like, what can you do, man? I always say, making money betting on MMA is brutal. It's so hard. Because so often it doesn't matter how much you know about the sport, how much time you put in, how much work you put in. It doesn't matter who you bet on. Ultimately, so often in fights, fighters have this one way to lose, and for whatever reason, they're like a moth that just flies right into the bug zapper. It's like they can't resist going to the one area of a fight where their opponent can actually cause them problems. So, yeah, Nasrat, it was a frustrating loss, but it's kind of what I always say to people, some people get so mad over losses. What I always say to people is, it's these guys are fighting in their underwear in front of millions of people. It's a fight to the death in your underwear in front of millions of people until the time limit expires or the referee drags you off your opponent. Crazy shit's gonna happen. I liked Hakarast at these odds. I thought he was a good bet. I was hoping that he would go to his grappling and kind of expose Dober's low-level ground game. But if he didn't do that, I was kind of banking on him still being able to outstrike Dober. It didn't happen. He got punched in the face. I'll just move on to next week. It's not really no big deal. Yeah, but it was a little bit frustrating betting on him because he's looked so good defensively, and then to see him come out getting into these wild exchanges because we know Dober's dangerous. Hakarast has looked smart in the fought smart in the past. He must have known how dangerous Dober is. And again, it's also possible that the Southpaw versus Southpaw dynamic threw Hakarast off, but still, I would have expected him to fight a little bit smarter than that. At least taking a little bit of time to settle into a rhythm and find his range like he did against Silva before he started to open up. But against Dober, it was like he wanted to open up 10 seconds into the fight, which was really disappointing. But what can you do, man? Vito is saying, thanks for the tips always, brother. Your videos are very helpful. Oh, thanks for the kind words, Vito, man. Hopefully we can find a tip on this fight, dude, because I'm excited to jump into this one. Jess Rami is saying, what's the difference between £200 membership and £220 membership? The only difference is the £200 membership gives you access to my live betting tips and my alternate fight commentary, but spaces on the live betting tips are very, very limited, so I don't have any spaces at the moment. If you did want to sign up for the £200 membership, I can't take your money at the moment because I don't have any spaces, but I will be setting up a waiting list system, which will probably launch next week. I know that a lot of you have been emailing me for a long time now, DMing me, emailing me, asking me to join the live betting service, and I'm really sorry, I just haven't got around to creating a waiting list. I've been working on a system that is going to try and be the fairest possible, rather than just kind of making it a free-for-all whenever spaces come up, whenever spaces become available, everyone's just in a bun fight to try and jump on it. I don't want it to be like that. I'm trying to work out a system that's going to be the fairest. So the waiting list is coming soon. We've got a break in the UFC schedule after next week. So if you have signed up for an account on my website at any point, a free account or whatever, you will get an email when the waiting list goes live for live betting. So that's the only difference. £20 gives you access to everything apart from the live betting. AndyMan66 is saying Stosic all day. Hill is just too green. Interesting, mate. You know what I will say, Andy, man? You know what I will say, dude? Whenever I see a guy making their UFC debut as the favourite, it instantly gets my spidey senses tingling. Because obviously they've never fought under USADA before, and that, even if they haven't built a career taking performance-enhancing drugs, that doesn't necessarily mean the fighting under USADA won't affect him. Like, Jamahal Hill might be used to using diuretics to help him cut weight. He won't be able to do that under USADA. He might be used to using IVs to rehydrate after weigh-ins. He won't be able to do that under USADA. So whenever I see, debutants at favourite odds, it's always suspicious to me, which is one of the reasons why I want to focus on this one as soon as possible. So we'll probably get into this one. We'll probably live stream the research for Stosic and Hill on here tomorrow, man. Probably about the same time as well. Jess Rami is saying, how come Alan's betting market ain't open but everyone else is? It is, dude. Here it is, mate. It might not be available on all sites because Alan was originally supposed to fight Josh Emmett. But it will be available. Fuck me, that would have been a tough fight. Jesus, that would have been a very, very tough matchup. If Arnold Allen was fighting Emmett, and Nick Lentz a little bit of an easier matchup for him, but Lentz is still really tough, man. We've seen Allen have problems with his takedown defense before, so that could get tricky for him. Rob Waddell is saying, I hope I pronounced that properly, dude. Rob Waddell is saying Angela Hill should beat Cypher's handy enough. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, dude. I'm not too sure. WrestleMan UK is saying, when will you start showing the chats? I'm not too sure what you mean by chats, dude. Let me know what you mean, man. VCheck is saying, is this new format? I'm not too sure what you mean by new format either, dude. Not too sure. Not too sure. Oh, nice one, Plain Jana, man. Yeah, I do like this hoodie, mate. I've had it a couple of years now. I don't wear it very much, though. Nice one, though, man. Thanks a lot, mate. Oh, Roland's, how you doing? Roland's, man. Roland Dito, one of my VIPs, dude. Good to see you, man. Bab329 is saying, I made the golden mistake of putting Barbara in a few of my parlays. She was the one loser I had. It is pointless to add such extreme favourite to your parlays. Risk to reward, lesson learned. Mate, that's it. Don't worry about it, man. Don't sweat it. Like, at the end of the day, if you're anything like me, like, the only way I learn, the only way most people learn is by making mistakes for themselves. Like, when I was first starting out, like, a long, long time ago, I used to put, like, fighters that I felt super confident in, like, multiple parlays. And then, of course, they lose, which crushes, like, multiple bets. And then you just learn, man. You just learn not to do it. Like, it doesn't even matter that you made that mistake, dude, because you'll never make it again. Do you know what I mean? Like, it don't even sweat it, bro. Just don't do it again. It's all good, man. It's all good. Do you know what, Bab329? There's two ways to look at it as well, right? There's, like, you can look at it as that you could get mad at yourself for making a mistake. Or then you can also think, do you know what? I've actually made the mistake, but it hasn't cost me that much money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've paid a little bit of money to learn a really good lesson here, and then that'll save you loads of money further down the line. Like, that's the way I like to look at things, dude. Brandon Moyney has said Sarah McMahon at minus 134. I'm not sure, sorry, dude. I haven't researched that fight yet. I do know McMahon is a total flake box, though, so she's going to be a tough fighter to trust. But she is fighting Lena Landsberg, who has terrible takedown defense, and McMahon, former Olympic level wrestler. I think she won a gold medal at the Olympics, didn't she? Or am I dreaming that up? I'm sure. Yeah, she's 39 years old, though, man. She's 39, and she might be coming back after having a baby as well, I think. But I'm pretty sure she won a gold medal, which is obviously not to be sniffed at. Was it gold? Oh, look, we'll get in. Oh, hang on. Look, we'll get into this when we research the fight, man. I don't know if she won a medal. I thought she did. We'll get into it when we get into that fight a bit deeper. Austin Johnson saying, yeah, bro, inexperienced people slip on banana peels. Me and my friend hit the line because we knew it was possible, and he listened to me call it. I said she would slip. Just watch. Yeah, man. It's tough, man. It's tough. It is tough. So Cyfix is asking, will you give us a lottery ticket for this weekend? So do you know what, boys? I've actually got caught up in a little bit of the anal world of YouTube, I suppose, because people online, on Twitter, on YouTube, when it comes to MMA, they're such assholes. Like, they scrutinize everything so heavily, and like they're pricks basically. So I'm always taking betting very seriously, and I'm always preaching my mantras of like only putting money in strong positions and how important research is and things like that, right? But Saturday night's live stream, boys, last Saturday when we did that live stream, I had loads of fun, man. Loads of fun. Not fucking like taking every single little bet into consideration like your life depended on it. I actually just had quite a lot of fun, like chatting with you guys about every fight and trying to dig for decent bets on every fight. It was loads of fun, and that reminded me that actually gambling is a form of entertainment. We're all here to make money. I pay the bills from gambling. But there are a hell of a lot of people in this world that gamble for fun. They gamble for entertainment. It's why Vegas exists, right? It's why casinos exist. It's a form of fun. And over the years, where I've been like under a lot of pressure to keep making money from gambling, to like keep growing, basically, I kind of lost sight a little bit of that. And I've got to remember like when I first started betting on MMA, like 10 years ago, one of the reasons why I started was because I loved Michael Bisping and I loved Anderson Silva and I loved Dan Hardy, and these guys were often competing in the main events of like the pay-per-views, or like back then it was what were they called? Fuel TV? I think they were like Fuel TV. It wasn't Fight Night cards. It was called UFC on Fuel TV or something. You'd have like Dan Hardy headlining one of those cards. So in the UK, these events are on until like 5 a.m, 6 a.m. in the morning. So if I would stay up to watch like a Michael Bisping fight in Vegas, I'd literally have to like get up Saturday morning and then stay up all the way through to like 5 a.m, 6 a.m. the next day on Sunday. And obviously, like when you first start watching MMA and you don't really know what's going on, the majority of fights are boring as fuck, man. Like, they're really boring. Like, they're very, like, I'll be completely real with you boys. If I didn't make money gambling, I wouldn't even watch MMA. I'm over it, man. I've grown out of it. But obviously everyone loves the big exciting fights, right? It's like boxing. No one really cares about the undercard and that. They all come out for the big fights. So I lost sight of this, because I remember when I first started watching MMA, I wouldn't give a fuck about Sarah McMahon, Lena Landsberg. I wouldn't give a fuck about Montel Jackson, Felipe Colares. I wouldn't even know who these guys were. I would just have to sit through the pain of these fights, counting down the minutes before I saw my beloved Dan Hardy or Michael Bisping or Anderson Silva. That's what I would be waiting up for. And to make that more bearable, I would bet like £5 or £10 on every single fight, to like watch the fights and just keep me interested, man. It's a form of entertainment. And you know what? If I lost like £50 or like £30, so what? Like, who cares? Like, that's what you spend if you go to the bar and have some drinks, or that's what you spend like if you go and like have a day out with the boys playing golf or something. And over the years, where I've taken gambling so fucking seriously, I completely lost sight of the fact that many people gamble for entertainment. So for that reason, this week I added a new area to my site called Fun Bets. So now on this page every week, what we are going to do, I'm going to try and find a decent value prop bet for every single fight. I'm going to give you who I think is the better bet on every single fight, because like I said last week, I thought the Barber would win, but I felt Modafferi was the better bet. You know, I thought McGregor would win, but I thought Cerrone was the better bet. Because I always say, let the odds do the work for you, right? Risk to reward ratios. And what you're also going to find on this page is a lottery ticket, at least one lottery ticket parlay for every week. And you know what, boys? The vast majority of bets on this page will lose. And you know what, boys? If you follow all the bets on this page, you'll probably lose money. but you'll probably have a lot of fun along the way as well. So my plan for this area of the site is every single week I will add fun bets to this page. So if you come to this area of the site on fight day, you'll find lottery ticket parlays, prop bets, picks for every fight. That's what you'll find here. Now, I want to do a live stream almost every week where I basically did what I did last week, where we go through every fight, we chop it up, we talk about every fight, we try and find a decent prop bet for every fight. Now, I'm not going to be able to have time to do that every week because these live streams, they take a lot of time to put together, right? There will be content in here every week, but I don't have time to do a live stream every week. The way you will be able to know if I'm doing a live stream on fight days where I give you all this content, all these bets, is if there's multiple events in the same week or not. So, for example, this week I won't be able to do a live stream on fight day where I find you fun bets because we've got Bellator. So my workload this week is fucking insane. But then for this event, February the 8th, as long as there's no Bellators, we'll do a live stream on fight day where we'll do the same thing. So if there's only a UFC, I will do the live stream every week. If there's multiple events, I won't have time to, and that's how now you guys could kind of work out how I'm starting to do things. I could become a little bit more a little bit more structured in the way I bring you content, so you guys can kind of know what to expect on a week-to-week basis. So like this week, for example, we'll do all the live stream research sessions I can where we've got fights where there's footage available of guys competed outside of the UFC. And I'll do one short traditional breakdown video, or I'll probably just cover the main event and a couple of other fights, and then that'll be it for this week, because I'll be snowed under with Bellator. But then on this week, as long as there's no other Bellators or anything like that, I'll probably be able to bring you breakdown videos, breaking down literally every fight on this card. So that's how we're going to do things, man, from now on, just so you kind of know where I'm coming from. Because it's not that I don't want to produce the content, I just literally, man, you saw the fucking length of the live streams I did on my website. It's just not enough hours in the day when we've got Bellator as well, or KSW, or PFL, or Cage Warriors, or all the other shit that gets thrown at us. Roland's, oh yeah, thanks, man. Glad you like the hoodie, dude. I like this hoodie as well, man. I don't wear it often, but I don't wear things like this often in the live streams. Obviously, I'm always wearing t-shirts because I'm indoors, but it is fucking cold at the moment in Wales, boys. It is really cold. I think we're going to be getting some snow soon, so I'm wearing a sweater for once. Plain Jan is saying Hatkaras situation reminds me of Makachev when he was death shotted by Martins. They would have won 8 out of 10 fights against their opponents, but it just wasn't their night. Yeah, with losses like Hatkaras, man, I think like with guys like Hatkaras, it's this situation where it's just a theory of mine where fighters who are really smart will like do their homework on their opponent. So they'll be like, right, what does Dober bring to the table? Well, you know, takedown defense pretty bad, ground game pretty bad, loads up a lot on his strikes, throws big winging hooks, but he's a heavy-handed southpaw. You know, very nice leg kicks. You don't want to get hit by this guy because he hits very hard and he's super aggressive. I think it also almost gets to the point where these really cerebral, intelligent fighters like Hatkaras, they're aware of everything their opponent does well, so when they get into the fight, they're thinking so much about what their opponent does well that they're actually like drawn to mixing it up with him in that area by complete accident. It's like when you have a fighter who we know if they get taken down, they're going to get dominated. They're going to be in big trouble. It's almost like because they know that, they will initiate the takedown to try and beat their opponent to the punch. And ironically, that just ends up with them getting reversed and ending on the bottom and dominated. It's a trend like we see so often in MMA. And it's just one of those things, man. I always say to people, like, we're not betting on robots, you know what I mean? Anything can happen. And like Hatkaras, he's only 24 years old. He'll learn. He's still great. It's just a bump in the road, man. And Dober's no joke, do you know what I mean? Dober's very, very good. It's just one of those things, man. You just gotta take it on the chin, literally. Well, I did make a joke though, man. I made a joke to some of my members because I do commentary during the fights for him. And I said to him that I think that the ref was watching some of my videos last week. As in all my videos last week, I was kind of like, oh, I've bet Nasrat. You know, I've bet $3,000 on Nasrat this week. I got in early, yada, 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 10 every in all my videos. And then literally, boys, how late was that stoppage? Like, usually, you know what it's like. When your fighter gets dropped and you've bet him, you're literally like, there's like a window of time, which is probably only a few seconds, but there's like a window of time before the stoppage comes, which feels like an eternity. And all you could feel in your heart is like, please don't stop it. Let him go, and you're like, please recover, please recover, please recover. And there was that moment where Nasrat got dropped, and he was kind of like trying to defend himself and get back up. Every time he got back up, Dober was like drilling him and sending him back down to the canvas. And I was just like, please recover, please recover. And it got to the point where, you know, usually when your fighter gets dropped or hurt bad, you're praying for him to like recover, and then when the referee jumps in and stops it, you're like really disappointed that like it couldn't have gone on a bit longer just to see what would happen. Whereas this was one of the few occasions where when Nasrat was literally getting hammered and his head was bouncing off the canvas, I was like, Jesus, dude, like just stop the fucking fight. Like, this is a late stoppage. Like, the dude is dead. So it was quite funny. It was literally one of the first times I can remember when I was actually like, yeah, dude, you need to stop it now, because there ain't no coming back for this. Like, the dude is going to die if you keep letting him take shots on the ground. Oh, it was crazy, man. But yeah, it's a little funny story. At the time, I found it funny anyway. I thought the ref had been watching my videos trying to hook me up, because that was a late one, man. That should have been stopped. Oh, Roland Z. Oh, Rolandito keeps... I keep thinking that people are saying they like my hoodie, but it's Rolandito using different usernames. Nice one, dude. I was like, this is just like a navy hoodie and a red with red bits. So it can't be that nice, surely. But it's Rolandito, man. I would send you a link on where to buy it, dude, but I bought it a couple of years ago. Probably can't get this no more. Philip Frank saying Bevon Lewis could be the Macy Barber of this card. Don't fall into the trap. He looked pedestrian in the UFC. Yeah, man. And I mean, those Jackson Wink MMA guys haven't been doing good lately, have they? This is probably going to be another fight we can live stream research for, because I think there's a decent amount of footage for Dequan outside of the UFC, so we can kind of like watch the fights together. What else have we got? Chris Hills, just give me the picks, bro. I know, man. Everyone wants the goddamn picks. Everybody wants those picks. Just Rami is saying, how much will you invest in per event before you are able to use it a full-time job? I invest around $200 per event, then I reinvest my winnings into the last two fights. So, dude, it took me a long time to actually get the balls, literally just get the balls to quit my job and go full-time on gambling. I would say I became profitable almost straight away, purely because, there's two reasons why I became profitable, like betting on the UFC straight away. The first reason is because it used to be way easier to make money betting on the UFC when I started. Like, literally, boys, I started betting on the MMA actually 11 years ago, and I know it was 11 years because it was my son's 11th birthday last week, and I started betting on the UFC just when he was born, because obviously babies don't sleep at night, so he'd be up all night, I'd be up all night with him, fucking tired on the sofa downstairs, like just wanting to sleep while I was feeding him. And obviously you turn the TV on in the middle of the night, flick through the channels, what's on late at night? Oh, it's the UFC. So that's how I started watching the UFC. So I became profitable almost straight away. And the reason why it was so easy to make money on the UFC back then is because going back 11 years, the sport was completely different. It's like, if you think about it, back then there was no USADA at all, so everyone had endless gas tanks. Do you know what I mean? You weren't getting as many fighters underperforming because they could take HGH and all kinds of shit to help them recover from injuries through camp. So guys weren't fighting injured all the time like they are now. And if you think about it, back then they could use IVs to rehydrate after difficult weight cuts. They could use diuretics to help them cut weight. Basically, if you go back 11 years before USADA came onto the scene, if you looked into a fighter and you knew a little bit about the fighter, chances are that's how they were going to show up and perform. Whereas these days, such a massive percentage of fighters underperform because they can't rehydrate properly after weigh-ins. They can't take diuretics to help them cut weight. They can't juice throughout camp to improve their cardio. They can't take HGH to recover from injuries. So sport's way more unpredictable now. Another reason why it was way easier 11 years ago is because now the vast majority of fighters in the UFC, to some extent, can do everything. Like, of course, you get guys that are, disproportionately better at things than and weak in others. But generally speaking, these days, everyone can do a fair amount of everything. It's rare in the UFC you get a guy that is completely hopeless at something. Whereas you go back 11 years, and literally almost every fight was like striker versus grappler. And the fight would be decided 9 times out of 10 on where the striker would be able to keep it standing. It was just a way more basic, easy to read sport. And for whatever reason, back then, possibly in Europe, because no one was betting on the UFC back then, because we didn't have the Conor McGregors, we didn't have the Michael Bispings. It was like a real small thing, man, that I was involved in. And it was just so easy, dude, because the bookies they just didn't set the odds accurately at all. And it was always striker versus grappler matchup. The striker couldn't defend takedowns. The grappler couldn't throw a punch. And that just made the sport a lot more predictable. So yeah, it took me absolutely ages to build up the confidence to quit my job. Because I've always been one of these guys that's like super cautious. Like, you probably get that vibe when you watch my breakdowns. Like, I'll have like 1 or 2 bets maximum per card. I'm very, very, very cautious. So I'm like that in all aspects of life. So it got to the point where I would say after maybe 3 years of gambling, I was earning more from betting on MMA than I did from my day job. But then what happens, the danger of that is when you're earning as much money from gambling as you do from your day job, it's kind of like you become reliant on that money. So instead of thinking like, maybe I'm earning £30,000 a year in my day job, now I'm earning £30,000 a year from gambling, I could just not do my day job anymore, and now gambling becomes my day job. Well, it doesn't work like that, because that money doesn't come like that, right? 1 year you may be earning 10 grand from gambling, the next year 20, the next year 30. But as these years go by, you're becoming accustomed to that money. So now, instead of just thinking I can sack off that 30 grand a year from my day job and take this 30 grand from gambling, well, it's a lot harder to do, because now I'm used to earning 60 grand. So I got to get my gambling money up to 60 grand. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I'm used to this 30 grand. I've built a life off this 30 grand from the day job as well. So what actually happened was, around 4 or 5 years into really crushing it at betting on MMA, I was working for a business for like 15 years. Literally, like, I started working part-time from when I was in college, like working in the bakery. They were basically shutting the office building down that I worked in, so they were like laying people off. But because I'd worked for them for so long, that gave me like a nice settlement fee. So I basically had like a year's salary just because I'd worked there for so long and they were laying people off. In the UK, it's called redundancy. I don't know what it's called in America or anywhere else. But I got made redundant, so I had like a year's salary. So that enabled me to be like, do you know what, man? I've been doing this gambling thing part-time while working a full-time job, doing pretty good at it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this year's salary, keep it in the bank as like a safety net, and I am going to go all in on this gambling thing and fully dedicate myself to this gambling thing, and I'm going to go hard, full-time, every day, wake up, research fights, treat this like a job, and then at the end of the year, I'll see where I am. Can I survive off gambling? If I can, great. I'm going to go all in and do that for a living. If I can't, I'll just go get another job. And I haven't looked back since, man. And I'll tell you what the fucking big deal is. I should have quit my job years ago, because it's way harder to make money from betting now. And had I done it before, like years ago, I would have ended up making I would be much further along. What I want to say to you guys is don't even think what I'm about to say is about gambling. This goes to any aspect of life. What I would say is, it's like when you got a, like, I don't even want to say this in the context of gambling, because I don't want you guys to start fucking quitting your jobs to gambles. It's a terrible idea. But it's kind of like, say you've got like a business interest or something, right? And you're kind of doing it on the side. Say like you print t-shirts on the side while you work at a full-time job, and like your t-shirts are kind of doing okay. You're earning like a few hundred a month or whatever, but it's not enough to like quit your job. But you hate your job, and you dream of just like doing these amazing designs and like creating things for a living and selling them. Like, it's going to take you a real long time to quit your job and do what you love full time, because like you're safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've always got your job to fall back on. Like, you're only ever going to like get to that next level when the training wheels come off, man. And you're literally like, do you know what? If I don't crush this, like, I'm screwed. Like, that's what you need. You need it literally to be, if I don't make this work, I am screwed. And I think that's why sometimes you just need to go for it, man. So the beauty of having that year's salary saved up for me when I got made redundant was, obviously, from month to month, you never know if you're going to make money. So, for example, at the moment, like, I've been doing, like, I haven't been doing good at all on pre-fight bets the last few months. Like, the events haven't been that great. Like, there haven't been that many opportunities, so I keep it really tight.
You also had a very supportive wife.
Yeah, and
you all the way.
Yeah, my wife is telling me, very supportive wife coming in. But what it's like, it's been rough the last few months, so you don't know from month to month whether you're going to be making money or not. You just don't in gambling. So having like that year's cushion took the pressure off a little bit, and it kind of enabled me to like have a few losing months and not freak out. And then by the time that year was over, I built up loads and I've never looked back. That's why I would say, man, like, my personal circumstances with getting made redundant helped me a lot. And another thing, you know, like the speech I just gave you where I was like, you'll never get there unless you like get the training wheels off. Like, I was one of these dudes that was so scared that I would fail, so I never wanted to take the training wheels off. I always kind of half-assed the job, half-assed gambling, do you know what I'm saying? And then I think the redundancy was amazing because the decision was made for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you read all these books saying, like, you just got to go for it. You watch all these, like, YouTube videos saying you just got to, like, go for it. And like, when the decision was made for me and, like, I lost my job, I had no option. And I'll tell you another thing, man. Like, I always loved this quote what Dana White used to say, where he said it on The Ultimate Fighter, when he was like, how bad do you want it? Because I used to fucking hate my job, boys. Like, I absolutely hated it. One of the reasons why I took gambling so seriously was to eventually escape my job. And I fucking hated my job. So when I had that year with, like, you know, that year's salary in the bank to try and make a go of gambling, it was kind of like, you know, quite often I see when people have a bit of a cushion, they get complacent or lazy and they slack off. For me, it was kind of like every morning I woke up and I was kind of like, every day that I didn't want to research a fight and I just wanted to play on my PlayStation, every day that I didn't want to like do something that I knew I should be doing, I had this fucking voice in my head that said, like, if you don't do this, you're going to end up back in the job you hate. And, like, that is why, ever since, boom, like, the amount of hours I put in every week, like, I am not joking, boys. Like, this week, I'll probably put 50 hours of work into researching fights. That doesn't include writing articles. That doesn't include designing thumbnails for videos. That doesn't include emailing and DMing people back. That doesn't include updating my website. That doesn't include, like, all the other shit I got going on in my life. Like, I am literally fucking 100% on it, because if I am not on it, I have this nagging voice in my head that's like, if you're not doing everything you fucking should be doing, you'll end up back at that job you hate. And that's why I just fucking get after it. So yeah, it took me ages and ages to quit my full-time job and move full-time into gambling, but it was the best thing I ever done, man. But I did have a bit of a push with being made redundant, which turned out to be the best thing that ever happened. At the time, I was freaking But it was wicked, man, and I'm real happy now. Bab329 has said, how do you feel about any of the shenanigans that occurred during UFC 246, like the hacked account messages, Masvidal's robe? He was rocking a Versace dressing gown. I'm not sure what was up with that. Cowboy's grandmother, that's always a weird one. The ref checking out Barber's leg. Yeah, that's a good one, dude. There's two weird things about the ref checking out Barber's leg. The first thing is, I've never, ever, ever, ever seen a doctor do that before. Like, remember when Thiago Santos blew his knee in the second round against John Jones? They just let him fight for another 20 minutes. Like, everything was hunky-dory. And another thing that I didn't know you could do, you guys might know more about this than me, when the referee examined Barber's leg, as soon as he was, like, examining it, he says to the ref, she's got a small tear in her ACL. And I was like, damn. Like, I didn't even know you could diagnose that just from an examination. I thought the only way to diagnose a torn ACL was through an MRI. So I didn't even know you could do that. So that was definitely the weirdest thing. I haven't really looked into the hat messages because I take Sundays off. Sundays are like my family days, so I took Sundays off. And then yesterday I jumped right back into fight research, man. So I haven't looked at any of like the news or anything about UFC 246's aftermath, but I could talk about the stuff that happened during the event. And yeah, Barber's leg, man, that was probably the weirdest one. Roland Z is saying, when I started betting on MMA was 2 months ago. I learned a lot from this guy, researching myself, and I compare it to him and decide that I feel more confident. Oh, nice one, Roland D. Oh, cheers, dude. Cheers, dude. Dominant Dan is saying, can't help but root for Hannah Cyphers after her interviews. Yeah, man, she's an interesting one for sure. Like, Jesus. It is tough though, man, isn't it? Because, like, you could tell because of how tough Cyphers is. Like, we've seen her in some wars. You could just tell, like, she just doesn't want to do the whole media thing. And who can blame her, man? She's just a fighter. Robinson Canola said Roxy by TKO might have been my favourite bet to root for ever. I know, man. Why didn't Roxy just, like, force Macy to stand back up? Roxanne's too kind. That's what it is. Matern, nah, dude, you haven't missed much at all, mate. Just me rambling on about bollocks. We haven't actually got into any juicy research yet, dude. Ron Jackson, VIP member here. Love your site. Oh, nice one, Jackson. Nice one, Ron Jackson, mate. I really appreciate it, dude. Yeah, that's it. It's a long game, man. With what you'll find about like the way I do pre-fight betting is I don't place many bets. Like, I keep it real tight. So when we do have like a few consecutive months losing, it feels really bad. But then when you actually look at the numbers, you look at the actual bets we've been losing, it's not that bad. It just feels worse than it is. So then when you actually do get, 4 or 5 consecutive events that are decent for betting, you could do very well in a short space of time. It's like buses, man. You sit around waiting for a long time for something decent to come along. The buses are late, and then all of a sudden you get 5 buses turn up at once. That's like MMA betting. And what you also notice is, like, with like the UFC's expansion project, like, it is getting a lot harder to make money betting on UFC, because now, like, generally speaking, the product is getting really diluted. So where we talk about so many fighters having clear paths to victory and then not choosing to take them, being like that moth that flies straight into the bug zapper, well, the higher up the rankings you go, the less that happens, right? Because obviously the better the fighter, generally speaking, the better the fight IQ, the more solid the fighter that they are. But the problem is with the UFC now, you get so many of these events that are packed full of regional talent, and you end up betting on these fighters that invariably, don't have the best fight IQ, don't fight to their strengths. And maybe they only have 1 or 2 areas that they could lose the fight, but they throw themselves right into it like it's a burning building, which is going to lead to more variance. Like, if you think about it, even if you go back 5 years, where the UFC is probably hosting like 30% less events per year, the quality of athlete on those events would have been so much higher, because all those top 10, 15 guys that are spread out across all these small regional events, now you see more of them on the cards that you do have, which basically leads to more betting opportunities on these cards. You look at the UFC 246 card, right? This was, the first event the UFC had in a month. I mean, look at this main card. Guys like Maurice Green, Alexei Olenek, Brian Kelleher, Ode Osborne, they shouldn't be anywhere near a UFC main card. They shouldn't be anywhere near it. These 4 guys shouldn't be anywhere near it. So, going back, a few years where the UFC weren't holding that many events, maybe you would have had like Korean Zombie and Frankie Edgar on this main card, because they wouldn't have had to have gone and filled that main event spot in Korea. You see that kind of thing happening, and then you don't find yourself over-analysing and trying to bet so much on these fights, like with Alexei Olenek, Maurice Green. Like, who the fuck knew how that would play out? Like, it was an impossible fight to call. May as well flip a coin on it. So I think that the dilution of the product is going to lead to longer losing streaks and just a more difficult climate to make money on. And one of the things that I'm going to try this year, which is probably going to piss off a lot of you watching, but I'm actually going to try and be even more selective this year. Like, I know I get criticised a lot. Like, I get criticised a hell of a lot for the amount I pass and how tight I am. But you know what? When I went back and analysed my results from last year, it was a good year, man. We made like 25 units of profit. That's pretty good for a guy that keeps things as tight as me. A guy that only really places 1 to 3 unit bets, 1 to 2 fights per card. 25 units, it's a pretty good return. 25% return on your money, you'd be fucking happy with that. Guys get a giant hard-on for a 6% return on the S&P 500, right? Take 25 units every year for the rest of my life. It's all good. But point I'm trying to make is, when I went back and looked at my losses from last year, the vast majority of losses were literally just on guys with really bad fight IQ, that if there were probably less events, if they were probably, these events full of a higher level of matchup, a higher level of talent to pick from, I probably wouldn't even have considered them. So I am going to tighten up a bit more this year. It may lead to less bets, but I honestly don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, I'm all about the money, and I'm interested to try that out this year. So we will see what happens, and that, I guess, goes back to it goes back to last week when I really kept it tight and only had one bet, because realistically, I spent 40 hours researching these fights, and aside from Harassed, nobody was jumping out at me as a solid bet. So I'm going to keep that going this year, and then at the end of the year, see where we are, man. Maybe I was wrong and we tweak things and do things slightly different in 2021. But you've always got to like try and tweak things and improve, right? WrestleMan UK has said, when will you start showing the live comments from Twitch, Mixer and YouTube on screen so we can all see? So that's a great question, WrestleMan UK. So I paid a company last October to design a completely new streaming platform for me, where we'll have exactly what you said. We'll have like the chats from Twitch, Mixer and YouTube appearing on the screen for you all to read them as I'm talking. We'll have like a countdown video, so like 10 minutes before I'm going to go live, there'll be like a countdown so you guys can like get ready so you don't miss the beginning of the stream. We'll have all that kind of thing. But I paid them to do it in October, and like whenever I do something, boys, I like to do it properly, do you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be real good, actually, man. It's gonna have high production value. It's gonna be animated, all this kind of stuff. So I paid them in October. It's now January, which is 4 months later. It's nowhere near completion. Probably still only like maybe 60-70% of the way through development. It's taken a long time to design because it's got animation and stuff in it. Animation is obviously a lot more time consuming than static graphics, but all that sort of stuff is coming WrestleMan UK. I don't know when it's going to be finished, because like I say, this company are quite slow, but they are very good at what they do, so I'm not gonna rush them. But hopefully maybe by the summer. Like, I know the summer might seem a long time away, but like there's an event every single week now in February and March, so I'm going to be super busy in February and March. And the summer will creep up on us, man. So probably like the summer, we'll have the new streaming platform out. Rob Waddell is asking, is Montel at his odds completely unplayable? I'm not sure, man. I haven't researched that fight yet. Sebastian Hordem is saying Kurt Bautista at 2.4 against Miles Johns. Thoughts? Haven't researched that fight yet, dude. So I couldn't tell you, man. I'm really, really sorry. Philip Frank said, I sprinkled a little on Julia Budd at plus 340 against Cyborg. The girl is a tank and hasn't lost in years. While Cyborg has looked human lately, I think she could surprise people with the right game plan. I'm not too sure, man. I think that it is a really, really, really difficult matchup for Julia Budd. A very difficult fight. Roland Z saying, didn't know we had multiple streams going. Yeah, man, we're on Mixer, Twitch and YouTube. Bopham Coach, don't worry, dude, you haven't missed much yet. I've been rambling on for ages. We haven't even got into the fight research yet, dude. Raffaello is saying, do you think the pressure and big stage got the better of Nasrat? He seemed so weird and off that night, even before the fight started. Yeah, dude, that could be a big part of it, man. I mean, I think what I do when I put bets out there, you guys know me, when I like break down fights or when I post bets, when I talk about fights on these videos, I always talk about risk factors. And one of the risk factors with Nasrat was he's only 24 years old. This is the biggest fight of his career, a huge card, a McGregor, Cerrone card. Maybe just he'll buckle under the pressure. I think that the same thing happened to Macy Barber as well. These super talented young fighters, they get thrown onto these big cards. Everyone's talking about them, loads of pressure on their shoulders, and they feel like they need to show up and perform and do something special and make a statement. And because of that, it kind of throws them off their game. So like Nasrat, for example, we'd never seen him, stand in the pocket and look to exchange before. Usually he's so disciplined, so strategic, and it was really out of character for him to see him kind of like standing right in front of Dober and throwing down. Similarly with Macy Barber, you look at that first round and Modafferi was able to hit that trip takedown so easily. Now, if you go back and watch Barber's fight against Gillian Robertson got in on way deeper takedowns than that trip takedown from Roxanne. And, Barber looked powerful, explosive, didn't let Modafferi get anywhere near her legs. She showed really good balance, really strong hips, and yet she gave up that takedown really easily. So it could be a thing with Barber, man, where, you know what, she's only 21 years old, Nasrat's 24 years old, just the occasion got the better of him. They'll come again. Although one thing that I'm thinking about with Barber is where she blew her knee out in round 2. Like, it's real possible that like maybe she went into that fight with an injured knee anyway, and that's what made it so easy for Roxanne to hit that trip takedown. Oh, it could be, you never know, man. But that's kind of like that could have happened, right? So Lidosis is saying, will you be adding lottery ticket parlays to your site? Yes, dude. From now on, mate, they will be here. We got a new fun bets category. I explained it earlier on, so we won't explain it again. But yeah, man, the lottery tickets are going in here from now on, dude. And you know what? I was talking to my wife. About this the other night because, I rarely bet parlays, but when we looked at the parlay that I gave out last week, it was an 8-leg parlay, and 6 of the 8 fighters won. I think the only 2... Where's the card? So 6 of the 8 fighters won. So I think we had Marzo, Hakarast, Youssef, Ferreira, Kelleher, Olenek, Pennington, and Connor. So the only 2 that let us down were Pennington and, ironically, the guy I felt most confident in out of everyone, Hakarast. But that's the way it goes, right? So we hit 6 legs of the 8. Now, I know people say, oh, so-and-so let me down, so-and-so let me down. and there's always one or two fighters that'll cost you every week. I know that's what people say with parlays, and that's going to be the case with us most weeks. But I'm telling you, boys, I was having a chat with the missus about it on Sunday. We will hit a few of these in a year. I'm telling you, the odds on that lottery ticket parlay were 83.0. 83.0. And we will hit a few of them in a year. I guarantee it. 2 or 3 at least. So we're going to lose the vast majority. But if you hit 2 or 3, you're going to be up huge for the year. And I was saying to the missus, because what we're going to do, I go through so many betting accounts, boys. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I go through accounts fast. So what I don't want to do is like sacrifice accounts to hit these big parlays. I just don't see the point. So I thought, what I'm going to do, my wife works in the city centre, so from now on I'm going to give her £100 every single week, or not every single week, but for every single event, which will be most weeks. And then one day on her lunch break, probably on a Friday, once liquidity builds up, she'll just going to go into like a betting shop in the city centre and whack it on my lottery ticket parlay, man, for the week. Because I reckon we'll hit a few of these every year, boys. I really do. Obviously, the vast majority are going to lose. But like, we were a whisker away this week, and it was our first week. Do you know what I mean? So I am confident about him. I am very, very confident. The GOAT is saying 50 hours. No way, there aren't that many hours in a week. Oh, you'd be surprised, dude. I never stop. I never stop, mate. I never stop. Lee Dosis just letting everyone know that he just went on a luxury holiday to Norway. The profits he's made with Allsop. Yes, Lee. Yes, getting paid, dude. That is what it's all about, bro. That is what it is all about. That is it, mate. That is it. Lee Dosis booking luxury holidays, man. That is it, mate. Lee Dosis is a beast. You want to see Lee Dosis' record on football, man? Absolute beast. El Drago Loop is saying, if you gamble on MMA, you absolutely cannot get attached and root hard for fighters. Must be unbiased. Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree, mate. That's a good point. YOLO420 is saying he also thinks fighters just chase the 50k bonus. That's a great point, dude. Maybe Nasrat wanted a new car. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. You never know. Like, what I always say to people, when people get really mad over like losing bets and stuff, I'm like, you do understand what type of lunatic like is got the balls to go into a cage and like fight a dude to the death in his underwear. Like, obviously they're going to be a little bit wild. They're not going to be like the most balanced people in the world that you could trust to make good decisions in the heat of the moment. So it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, when dudes get knocked out, it's just like, yeah, shit happens. Do you know what I mean? Oh, nice one, Jerome. Cheers, dude. Lee Dosis bet 2 units on Olenek. That is a power play, dude. Great bet from Lee Dosis. I was tempted. I was really tempted to bet Olenek. I just couldn't do it, dude. He went in our lottery ticket parlay, but that's no good, man. That's no good. I didn't have the balls to bet him like you. So that is a great bet, mate. Really good bet. YOLO420 is saying, I'm hoping for another Crone Gracie versus Cub Swanson bet. Surely that's the bet of 2019. Yeah, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, we were all big on Cub when we did that live research video together, right, where we all decided to bet on Cub. And what I would say is that's like a little bit of what I'm gonna change in 2020. I'm just gonna sit and wait for those type of bets to pop up. And if it means I have to just chill and pass on 2 or 3 consecutive events, that's what I'm gonna do. Because at the end of the year, you know what I mean? It's all about how much money you've got. Do you know what I mean? How much money you've made. So if we've got to sit and chill for these super strong, obvious positions to pop up, that's what I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? Because if, for example, I bet Hakaras last week really early when he was like 1.44 territory, 1.42. Like, if Hakaras odds were what they closed at when I bet him, which was like 1.3, then I wouldn't have bet last week's card. Like, there's no way I would have bet Hakarast at 1.3. Like I said to you guys last week, like, Hakarast is good. Like, I think he'll win. And I like him at 1.44. I wouldn't touch him at 1.3. Like, Dober's legit. Dober's dangerous. So last week was a good example on a card I would have given a miss. Do you know what I mean? There's just no strong positions when you look at the odds. It's easy for you to find strong positions now. Easy peasy when you could play captain hindsight. But then when you look at the fights, it's like Connor, 1.30 favourite. Would you have capped him at 80%? No, couldn't have bet him. Holly Holm against Raquel Pennington. That fight was a coin flip. Both girls are super flaky. You know, no real way to know. Pennington was just going to be happy to have her back on the cage, literally doing nothing for 15 minutes. This fight was chaos. Could have gone either way. I mean, Olenek threw a right hand literally in the first minute and just kind of fell off balance, and Green kind of hesitated on throwing an uppercut. Like, that fight could have been over in 30 seconds. Green could have KO'd him dead. Like, Kelleher, probably Kelleher's my most reluctant passer last week. I even spoke about it in the breakdown video. I was seriously considering betting Kelleher, but then the way I looked at it was both guys were even money, right? So if you look at the fact that they were both even money, Kelleher even posted on his own Twitter profile. If we scroll all the way back, Kelleher said by here, Kelleher, like a week before the fight, basically admitted to the fact that he was having a hard weight cut. So it wouldn't have been smart for me to bet him at close to even money, because of all we know, he could have spent the entire training camp focusing on getting his weight down and would have looked like absolute shit. So can't really complain on a pass there. I was very big on Ferreira. I thought Ferreira would win easily, but he gets dinged a lot, right? Very, very reckless, particularly in the first round. Pettis is dangerous. And you would have had to have capped Diego at like 75% with where his odds were at 1.40. Can't do it. I thought Barber would win, but Modafferi, you know, got it done, man. And all I would say about this fight is, if it hadn't, I said it when we were breaking this fight down, if it hadn't have been for that Gillian Robertson fight, I would have been all over Modafferi at these odds. But Robertson is a much better offensive wrestler than Modafferi, and she got in so deep on Barber's hips on that fight. Barber just showed gravity-defying takedown defense, strong hips, excellent balance, and I didn't think Modafferi was going to get anywhere near a takedown, which makes me think maybe Barber was injured coming in. But that's the reason why I didn't roll the dice on Modafferi. I did lean towards Yusuf, but again, people are like kind of bragging over betting Yusuf and stuff. I think Yusuf was a terrible bet at favourite odds, because we have never seen Yusuf defend a takedown before. We didn't have any idea what Yusuf's ground game was. So people that went out and bet Yusuf as a favourite completely gambled on the fact that Philly wouldn't be able to take him down and control him. Now, we saw multiple times, particularly in the first round, Philly took Yusuf down. Yusuf popped back up to his feet. His ground game looked amazing. Yusuf's ground game looked legit. But there's no way you could have known that before we saw this fight play out. So that was a huge gamble. So no bets there either. This fight was chaos. Askarov in his past fights looked very, very weak off his back. We wouldn't know if he would tighten that up or not. And as it happened, in this fight, he did tighten it up. Aside from spending a little bit too long on his back in the second round, every time Elliott did go to the ground with him, he immediately popped back up to his feet, which was very good. We've already done the Dober versus Hakras fight to death, spoken loads about that. I didn't have an opinion on this fight because there was barely any footage available on Alexa Kamur. And this fight, it was a very, very difficult one. You had, volume striker against power striker in Aldrich. But while we're on the topic of this fight, I also want to say that I think this was a very, very bad decision, because Marzo barely landed anything in round 1. She got outstruck for the majority of round 2, and yes, she had a good round 3, but I scored the first 2 rounds for Aldrich. I thought that was 29-28 Aldrich all day long. But the funny thing about this fight is Adelaide Bird was the third judge. It was Adelaide Bird that gave her verdict on how this fight would be decided, and she got it fucking wrong. JJ Aldrich got semi-robbed here. Obviously, second round was quite competitive. People will say, Marzo landed a big head kick in the last minute. That's true, but a minute before that, Aldrich, snapped Marzo's head back with a huge right hook, busted up her nose, and Aldrich also outstruck her by a decent margin in that second round. So I think this was a pretty bad decision that kind of fell under the radar, just probably because people don't care enough to bang on about it on social media. So quite happy with with my decisions last week. But like I say, this week looks a lot better for betting, and hopefully we can make a bit of cash this week, because last week absolutely sucked. Guillermo is saying, I enjoy your videos a lot. Oh, nice one, Guillermo, man. He said he's an adult and I should think of myself. For example, I thought Ode Osborne might be a good bet. After your video, I changed my mind. Nice one, dude. I saw Kelleher put the fight to the ground. I live bet and won. Oh, great bet, man. I didn't actually live bet Kelleher. You got in nice there, dude. Well done, mate. Quincy Pignola is saying that Crone stood the whole fight, so if it went to the ground, different story. I agree with you, except when we researched that fight together, we identified that Crone Gracie's offensive wrestling was terrible, and he didn't possess the skills to get the fight to the ground. So that's why that bet was such a good opportunity. Yeah, sorry, boys. Look, I keep chatting, don't I? I need to shut up. I just don't want to leave anyone's comments out. So I'm going to get through all these comments, then we can jump into this fight research. Skim through. Kovrik Christian, I haven't done the Dos Santos versus Chiesa fight yet, mate. Philip Frank is saying, Macy grabbing the mic after she lost and what she said was so cringe. Did you see Twitter explode yesterday after Conor praised Trump? No, man, I haven't been looking at any of the news lately or anything. I haven't been looking into it, but Philip with Macy grabbing the mic, I went into the kitchen to make myself a drink after the fight ended, and I could hear. Do you know what I was kind of like making myself a drink in the kitchen, and I heard Macy Barber talking on the mic, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like. Why is Macy Barber talking on the microphone? What's going on here? Like, she just got dominated in round 2 and 3. And then, when I was making a drink, I was like, because I couldn't hear what she was saying. I only heard that she was talking on the mic. And then I was like, oh shit, Adelaide Bird is judging. And I actually thought that Adelaide Bird or something, I thought that Macy had won the fight. I thought that somehow they gave her the first and second round for like offense off her back or something. I actually thought that Roxanne got robbed and that was the reason why Macy was on the mic. But I didn't listen to what she said because I was making a drink at the time. Tony Picks MMA, how you doing, man? Saying, oh, quick lunch break at work, how you doing, dude? Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, tough luck on Nasrat. Yeah, I know, mate. I know, man. I do. Yeah, like I said, mate. Yeah, Tony Picks just basically saying Kelleher was money and I should have bet him. Yeah, do you know what? I've just run through the whole card, and Kelleher's literally the only guy where I'm like, yeah, I probably fucked up there. I probably should have bet him. Happy with all the other passes, but Kelleher's still like, I was still like, fuck, I should have bet him. But that's the way it goes, innit, man? We all make mistakes, dude. We all make mistakes. But yeah, definitely regret not betting Kelleher, mate. You're right. Vchek saying, I'm loving the new content. Gonna invite my friends to join. Thanks a lot, Vchek. Really appreciate it, man. I see Vchek as well in the live streams every day, dude. So, do you know what, man? Like, researching these fights every day with you guys makes it way more fun for me. Because without that, I'm just sat here by myself doing it. Like, I've had loads of fun since we started doing that last week. So, Vchek, man, it's great to see you in there every day, dude. Quincy Pignola is saying, Landwehr not bad. Does he want to be on the ground with Burns? I don't know, man. We're going to find out. We're going to watch some footage. Lidos is saying, also, do you think beating the line movement is a good sign and good for winning long term? I do, mate. Like, everyone wants to tell me, everybody wants to tell me that Hapkaras was a terrible bet last week. But boys, he got bet down from 1.44 to 1.30. Like, if he was such a terrible bet, why didn't his odds go in the other direction? If he was such a terrible bet, why was he at 1.3 the whole week and didn't move? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to ask yourself. Sebastian Gray saying Aldrich 100% won those first 2 rounds. I agree, man. Like, no one was really, like, when there's like a bad decision, I always go on to Twitter and kind of see if people are kicking off about it. No one seemed to care after that fight, but I thought it was a really bad decision. So we see how the media had it. So the media had it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 out of the 14 media guys scored it for Aldrich. And Ryan Frederick Please never, ever, 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 ever score another MMA fight ever again, you absolute jabroni. How in the fucking world have you got that 30-27 Marzo? Like, who are you, bro? Who actually are you? There is one thing that I hate more than fucking anything in this world. It is people that do a job the work in MMA and they just don't take the sport seriously. Like, do you have shit in your eyes, mate? Who are you, mate? Ryan Frederick. Honestly. 30-27 Marzo, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not going to abuse this poor man because I don't know if it's him or not. But you should be ashamed of yourself. 30-27 is an embarrassing scorecard. Not even Adelaide Bird had it 30-27, bro. Adelaide Bird had it 29-28. So, hey, guess what? Ryan Frederick, you're even worse than Adelaide Bird. You absolute jabroni. 30-27 Marzo. You are literally worse than Adelaide Bird at scoring fights. That is impressive, bro. That is impressive. That is really impressive. A 79-year-old lady with glasses knows more about fighting than you do. Like, literally, just never work in MMA again, bro. You are bad. Bad, bad, bad. Mastered by Jazz is saying, I think you're going to pass on this fight when you see Nate's takedown defense. Oh, no, man. Don't tell me Nate's got bad takedown defense. That's not what I wanted to hear. Oh, 1A. Thanks a lot for the kind words, dude. El Drago saying he had 2 units on Aldrich, was gutted by that decision. Mate, so El Drago Loop is saying as soon as he heard, because what they did, they read the first 2 scores out from like Chris Lee and the other judge, and then Adelaide Bird, they read her scorecard out last, almost like they know that her scorecards have got the most drama attached to them. And I know exactly how you feel, man. El Drago's just basically saying that when they were reading the decision out, he had 2 units on Aldrich, and then when he heard them read out Adelaide Bird's name to give the deciding score, he knew he was going to lose the bet because she's a clown. I feel bad for you, man. Aldrich was a good bet, mate. She won that fight, dude. She won that fight. That was a robbery. That was a bad one. Artyom Volchenkov saying, do you reckon Chiesa is looking good at plus 200? I haven't researched that fight yet, sorry, dude. What I will say that's a bit weird, though, I've just closed it down, what a muppet. What I will say that's weird about that fight is everybody seems to be on Chiesa. Everyone that I've seen are on Chiesa. Like, people coming into my chat room over the last 2 days, all talking about betting Chiesa, saying Chiesa's a good bet, but the odds aren't reflecting that because the odds keep declining on RDA. So everyone is saying they're betting Chiesa, but the odds don't reflect like public, like the public feeling on it. So it's a bit of a weird one, man. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I haven't researched it yet. So Sebastian Gray just confirmed it for us. So Sebastian Gray Palacios is saying McMahon will probably have a big first round against Landsberg. But she's nearly 40 and she's just coming back off a 2-year layoff after having a baby. Oh, nice one, Tony Picks, man. Enjoy your lunch, dude. Enjoy your lunch, mate. Oh, nice one, Chidaka. Cheers, dude. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much, Chidaka, dude. Oh, Pitalgo, man. Pitalgo saying he listens to me in work. Pitalgo, I see you in the live streams every day as well, mate. Literally grinding, man. Grinding while you're grinding. You're double grinding. You're working. And obviously you're jumping into these fights deep with us, mate. So nice one, Pitalgo. Cheers, dude. Oh, Rich P listens as well when he's in work. Nice one, Rich. Cheers, mate. Let me know what your username on the site is, Rich. And Lee Dosis, yeah, saying 30-27 Marzo, what a muppet. Bop and Coach is saying, I think I like Burns in this fight by submission, but I haven't seen much of Nate. Vchek saying, the fact that Bird is still allowed to judge just speaks to the incompetencies and the corruption of the government-run commission. Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. Right, let's get into this fight footage now, boys. That's all the questions done. Finally get into this fight research. So what I thought we could do first of all is watch one of Herbert Burns' recent fights, so that you guys can like familiarise yourself with all the stuff that I've said about him. So if you haven't been watching from the beginning, I'll give you a really brief overview. So I've watched Herbert Burns' last 3 fights, which I can't play for you here because they're all copyright protected. But basically, Herbert Burns, he's a BJJ guy. No power in his hands, not dangerous when it comes to striking at all. He's a very awkward striker. He doesn't like to exchange, and he's got bad striking defense. He's very, very easy to hit. He's a sitting duck to being knocked out, actually. But very, very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Difficult to gauge his offensive wrestling because within these fights, I've only seen him shoot 1 takedown, and the guy he shot a takedown on gave the takedown up very easily. Now, if you're wondering why he's got 3 wins by sub when he's only hit 1 takedown in these fights, it's because this guy actually took Burns down and ended up getting submitted. And in these 2 fights, he took one guy down, and in the other fight, he pulled guard. So that's one big weakness from Herbert Burns. He pulls guard a lot, which actually tells me that his offensive wrestling isn't that good. Because if his offensive wrestling was good, there would be no need for him to pull guard. So I am interested in a potential bet on Landwehr here. Unless Landwehr is very, very, very bad, I can't see me betting Herbert Burns, just because Burns is just not that good from what I've seen in his last 3 fights. So if we look at the odds, we can see that Landwehr's odds have been steadily declining. So I'm guessing people are maybe thinking the same as me on this. There's no way I'm betting Burns, just because I feel like surely Landwehr can't be that bad. But we'll see. Maybe I will bet Burns. Maybe Landwehr is that bad. But I'd be surprised because he's an M1 Global Champion. M1 Global Champion's usually pretty decent. I can't imagine him being that bad. But who knows, man. And Quincy Pignola just dropping knowledge, telling us that Nate has only ever been submitted 1 time, which is impressive, because I think he's had a boatload of fights. So 15 fights, and he's only been submitted 1 time. And you never know what that might be, right? Maybe he wasn't submitted in like a grappling exchange. Maybe he got knocked down or something and his opponent jumped on his neck. Like, you don't know, man. So it might not mean that much. Who knows, man? Who knows? Oh, I think you'd be surprised. Nice one, dude. Listen, look, boys, I'm going to keep live stream as much as I can. Like, I know, man, what it's like to be in work. I used to fucking hate my job, and I just used to listen to podcasts all day, boys. So now I know you're all in work listening. I will try and bang out as many of these live streams as possible, boys. I know what it's like, mate, to be in work. It's fucking brutal. It's not good, man. It is a grind. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you've got good jobs. I had a terrible job. I hated my job. Maybe it's not so bad for you guys. So what we are going to do now is let's get into the first fight. So this is Herbert Burns against Movlid. I'm just going to call him Movlid because this is a difficult surname to pronounce and I don't want to get it wrong. This is from February 2017. So Herbert Burns is 31 years old now. So just bear in mind for this fight that Burns is going to have improved quite a lot since this fight. So let's get it going, see what we get. So obviously Herbert Burns in the red and black shorts. And that's another thing you'll notice about Herbert Burns, which I forgot to mention. Notice how as soon as Movlid caught the kick there, he immediately started rolling to his... Or he just immediately went to the ground. And notice how when Movlid took him down there, got in on a takedown, he immediately gave up the takedown. Burns is one of these guys that he's not going to try and stuff the takedown. Like, if you want to catch one of his kicks and take him down, he's more than happy with that because he wants to be on the ground. If you want to shoot a takedown on him, he'll give it to you because he wants to be on the ground. And here you see Burns very, very aggressive off his back, rolling for lead locks. So that's what you'll notice about Burns, man. I don't know anything about Landwehr, but Burns will like to go to the ground by any means necessary, and he will pull guard a lot. What you've got to watch with guys like Herbert Burns is that they play possum a lot. Like, if they get hurt, you'll quite often see him like pretend to be hurt and go to the ground in the hope that you'll jump into their guard and go to the ground after him. So here we see Movlid controlling Burns from top position. Oh, Stuart Flynn, nice one, man. Really appreciate it, dude. Cheers, Stuart. Jack Thompson saying, I'm from Slovenia. It's 8 at night. I look for your channel for a while now. Keep up, bro. Let's win some bread. Nice one, Jack. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers, dude. So, Gilbert Burns, really, really active off his back. What you'll see in some of his past fights is he's always looking to pass the leg over the shoulder to trap an arm so he can start to work for arm bars, triangles, that kind of thing. But Movlid is showing a really educated top game. He's not letting him get anywhere near it. Every time you start to see Gilbert Burns go to the high guard to try and set up one of those triangles or arm bars, you just start to see Movlid punishing him for it with ground and pound. And that's with the intention of putting Herbert Burns into a defensive shell, so that he's saying every time you attack off your back, you're going to get punched in the face for it. You know, you see here, when Herbert Burns is just back to this guard position, we see Movlid just content to control him from top position. But then as soon as Herbert Burns starts to go to the high guard and work for submissions, that's when you start to see Movlid get active. So one good thing about this fight is, you know, his last 3 fights have all ended quite quickly. At least this fight has gone the distance, going to give us a little indication of what Herbert Burns' cardio might be like. You can see a little bit of the sloppy striking from Herbert Burns we were talking about, just winging these big hooks, not really moving his head much when he's throwing. Misses wide on a big overhand right there. And the problem with Burns is striking. There's issues with it on two different levels. So the first level of problem with Burns is striking is obviously when he throws, it's not with the best technique, which means because he's not like striking efficiently, that would lead him to use up a lot more energy than he would need to. You know, he could gas out a lot faster. On the other front, because he's not the best striker, he doesn't really have the striking to set up his takedown entries. That's probably one of the reasons why we see him pull guard so often, because he's got nothing to set the traditional single leg, double leg takedown attempts up with. But now that he's felt Movlid's ground game, be interested to see if he looks to go back to the ground. So that's the end of the first round. Let's see what the second round gives us. So with Burns being underneath Movlid for that entire first round, I'm interested to see how his cardio holds up here. And Herbert Burns' striking actually looks a little bit better here than it did in the 3 fights that I watched of his. But then Movlid's not throwing too much. What I noticed about Burns and his striking in his last 3 fights, his striking defense isn't great, but then I guess it's tough to gauge it here because Movlid, he's not really throwing that many punches. And also, Burns is standing, you know, standing right in front of him. Maybe he's thinking, maybe he's not really worried about Burns' striking. Maybe he's thinking more about the threat of the takedown. That's why he's reluctant to let his hands go in case, you know, Burns tries to shoot a level change and put him on his back. Nice body kick there from Movlid though. Got Burns to drop his arms. And there comes the level change. And that's another thing what we saw in round 1, what we've spoken about. Movlid didn't try and take that fight to the ground there, but as Burns changed levels and went for the takedown, Movlid in that exchange kind of just followed him to the ground and ended up in guard. That's what you see from Burns. At any opportunity, he's looking to bait you into going to the ground with him. And obviously, when your opponent shoots a takedown on you, your first instinct is to just stuff the takedown, and that's what Movlid did there. And then instead of disengaging, he instinctively went to the ground with Burns to try and establish that dominant position. And smart fight IQ from Movlid here, letting Burns back up to his feet so he doesn't get caught in anything crazy. Now you're starting to see Movlid have a little bit more success with his striking. He's throwing the jab out there. Starting to have more success landing on Burns. Maybe starting to grow in confidence a little bit here. Lands a very nice left hook. And like I say, in the past fights that I watched of Burns, his striking defense was really bad. So, and there you see, earlier on, remember when I was saying guys like Burns kind of pretend to be hurt? You saw it there. Movlid didn't even really land that left hook. But Burns kind of even threw his head into it to some extent to go to the ground to kind of like fake being hurt off that left hand, when in actual fact he's trying to play possum, WWE style. He's trying to pretend like you've hurt him so that you jump to the ground looking for a finish, and then he's actually fine and he can catch you with something off his back. And the referee is not playing Burns' game at all here. So what's a little bit disappointing about this fight is that, there's two things that's a bit disappointing. First thing is that Movlid is a really strong wrestler, so when Burns has tried to take the fight to the ground, he hasn't really got anywhere near it. And the second disappointing thing about this fight is Burns, because he understands Movlid is a really strong wrestler, he hasn't shot that many takedowns. So it's kind of annoying, because we know Burns' striking defense isn't great. We know his ground game is. So the real question becomes, how likely is it that Burns is able to get Landwehr to the ground? Now, based on the fight, this will be the fourth fight of Burns that I've watched. Based on his past fights, not very good. Do you know what I mean? Based on his past fights, Landwehr would have to be pretty bad to get taken down here. You see again, just Burns flop into his back. Let's go into this third round, boys. See what we're getting in round 3. So Herbert Burns showing a little bit of what I was talking about earlier on from the other fights that I watched from his. The only thing that maybe isn't shining through for you is where I said Burns has got really bad striking defense. It's not as obvious here because Movlid hasn't really let his hands go that much. I think Movlid is... Oh, there we go. First proper takedown entry from Burns. Do you know what? That was a very nice takedown entry from Burns. He got him pretty deep on that double leg. His problem is, rather than driving through on it and fully committing to it, as soon as he grabbed a hold of Movlid, he decided to roll to his back and pull guard instead, which is obviously a terrible idea, because at the moment we've got Movlid in side control, and Burns has nothing from this position. So Burns with a decent takedown entry then. But what we've also got to remember is this fight was 3 years ago. So Burns' offensive wrestling might have improved a lot since then. 3 years ago, because he was just a BJJ guy with really basic wrestling, maybe all he knew how to do was shoot that initial takedown. And then, once his opponent shut it down, he didn't feel confident, go into the body lock or chaining into anything else. So instinctively, he would pull guard. But, he's been training at Hard Knocks 365. Maybe he's improved a lot since then. I mean, if you think of how much his brother's improved in that time, Gilbert Burns is unrecognisable today from how he looked 3 years ago. He's improved so much. So, even though Burns' offensive wrestling in this fight hasn't been looking great, it doesn't mean that it won't be great on Saturday night against Landwehr. So I'm hoping we see some pretty legit takedown defense from Landwehr, because Burns is not really that impressive. So what we'll do, boys, we'll skip through. We don't need to see Burns getting control from side control while Burns is mounted. Burns is given that mount. Sneaks out the back door, rolling for a leg. Very, very nice. This fight got spicy in a hurry. So one thing I'm noticing there is Burns doesn't seem that physically strong either, because every time he gets into this position where he might be able to power his way into a dominant position, he immediately retreats and gives up on his back. Immediately retreats and rolls to his back. Is that because he just isn't athletic enough to drive through and complete the takedown? I'm not too sure, but it's a little bit weird. It is a little bit weird, boys. And we're just going to skip through and make sure nothing else interesting happens we can learn from. And the thing about Burns is, obviously he's tricky on the ground. Obviously he's good on the ground, but he's not like devastating on the ground. It's not like his brother. Like Gilbert Burns would tie you up in knots, do you know what I mean? You'd be in big trouble. But Herbert Burns, he's alright, you know what I mean? He's okay. Right, on to this next fight now. Nate Landwehr against Victor Kolesnik. So I don't know anything about Landwehr, and I'll be learning about this guy with you. So we're going to watch his last fight. This was from June 2019 against Victor Kolesnik. Decent record, 16-3. See what kind of guys this guy has been beating. Don't recognise anyone's name, which isn't usually that good of a sign. Yeah, I don't recognise anyone's name. So let's just get into it, boys. See what Landwehr brings to the table. Landwehr, the guy in the white shorts. Let's see what he brings to the table. Hopefully he's good. Because I don't think you need to be anything special to beat a guy like Burns. Just need to have semi-decent takedown defense. Be able to defend yourself on the ground. And that would probably be enough, man. I am excited about a potential bet here, boys. I'm not going to lie. Because I'm just not that impressed with Herbert Burns. So it's actually Landwehr tying his opponent up, which is interesting. Now, one thing that is a bit annoying. This fight is taking place in a ring, which will make it more difficult to gauge Landwehr's takedown defense, because obviously he can't use the cage as a tool to stuff takedowns or work his way back to his feet. So if he does get taken down, it will be difficult to assess, you know, his chances of working his way back to his feet if he gets taken down in a cage by Herbert Burns. So remember, both guys are roughly around even money. So as long as you can cap one guy in the 60% range, you'll have value, a good amount of value as well. And we're complaining about an eye poke. He won't even touch gloves. I'd really love to see some grappling exchanges here, man. I think that's what this fight could come down to. Although Landwehr's striking, not blowing my hair back. Obviously still finding his range though. We're only 2.5 minutes in. Still settling into a rhythm. Very nice combination there though. Sign the Landwehr starting to get comfortable, starting to find his range. Slipped that right hand from Kolesnik and fired back with a very nice 2-strike combo. Again, ducks under the right hand, looks for the uppercut. His opponent's not there though. Landwehr starting to get comfortable here. Just slipping out the range of Kolesnik's power strikes. You saw Kolesnik there throwing the leg kick. He landed a couple early in the fight, but that time Landwehr was able to slip it. A sign that he's starting to get reads now. Starting to get reads on Victor. Let's just call him Victor. It's easier to pronounce. Saw the head kick come in, blocked it. Very nice. Steps in with a short right hand. That looked like it hurt. Victor there. And very, very nice takedown defense. Very nice takedown defense from Landwehr. Did you notice, guys, that in this position... Now, whenever you research fights and you're watching footage of both guys, you should always start to visualize how they match up. You should always try and visualize them in a fight and what both guys would do in these positions. And if we take a look at this, watch what happens when Victor shoots a takedown here. So we've gone back a little bit. Now, as soon as Victor changes levels to go for the takedown, notice how Landwehr immediately goes to the underhooks. That signals to me that he knows what he's doing when it comes to defending takedowns. And another huge bonus for him. Watch. As soon as the opponent changes levels, straight in on the underhook, deep underhook on the right side. Now, this is great because when Victor shot that takedown there, did you notice how he drove through? He kept driving to try and get that takedown. Even here, Landwehr. Did you see that, boys? Let's just pause it a second. Let's just pause it a second while we talk through this. So as Landwehr senses the level change coming from Victor, he digs a nice deep underhook on the right side to stuff the takedown, clears his legs. And what did we see Herbert Burns do in this position? As soon as Herbert Burns shot in on his opponent and he realized he wasn't going to get it, he immediately rolled to his back. Now, Victor is driven through and he hasn't got anywhere near the takedown. Landwehr has done a good job of stuffing it. But what I really like here is, as soon as Burns rolls to his back, he's looking to tie you up with something. But I like how Landwehr clears his legs so that Burns, theoretically, wouldn't be able to get anywhere near his legs, wouldn't be able to tie him up, right? Or it'd be difficult for him to. So I really like that. And then in this next position, when Victor is still trying to chain into this takedown attempt, watch how quickly Landwehr gets these underhooks in play. So his opponent here has a full body lock on Landwehr with his hands connected together. He's in a strong position... strong position to hit a trip takedown here, and watch Landwehr gets a deep underhook on the right side, and as soon as the opportunity presents itself, he also digs the underhook on the left side. Watch this, underhook left, sneaks it straight in, beautiful, and that enables him to reverse position, put his opponent's back against the cage. So beautiful stuff there from Landwehr, very, very nice takedown defense. Clearly knows what he's doing in these grappling exchanges. Landwehr calling his opponent on now. Getting a bit overly aggressive there with the uppercut, misses wide. But I like to see him in these positions to see how he reacts to everything the Victor is doing. His opponent lands a huge right hand there. I don't think Landwehr is cut though, is it? Isn't his opponent cut? Didn't we? Oh no, the right hand must have hurt Landwehr. That right hand must have done some damage there. Landwehr definitely a little bit reckless. Trying to duck under that right hand that Victor throws out there. So we learnt a little bit about Landwehr in that first round. Very aggressive. A little bit reckless as well. Towards the end of the round, he's trying to... Oh, did he get dropped off a head kick there? I think he actually got dropped off a head kick. We'll look out for a replay. And there his opponent tries to jump guard on a guillotine. Landwehr not having any of it. So what we learnt about Landwehr in that round was, I can't for sure say he's got good takedown defense, but he's doing the right things in the right positions. A little bit reckless and loves a scrap. Towards the end of that round, he was trying to bait Victor into, just exchanging with him, getting into one of these reckless exchanges. Victor didn't take the bait. But Nate kept coming forward anyway and got caught with some big shots. There you see him get caught with a big two-strike combination. I'm sure he gets dropped off a head kick at the end of the round, but we couldn't see because of the camera angle. Be interesting to see if they show a replay of that to see what did land. But Nate is one of these guys that seems to be pretty good when he's actually focusing on, fighting smart. But then towards the end of the round where he got reckless, look, he's calling Victor on there. Towards the end of the round, yeah, he did get dropped off a head kick. Towards the end of the round, he's trying to invite Victor into a brawl. trying to invite Victor into a brawl, calling him on, and because of that he gets dropped. So let's see if Landwehr fights a little bit smarter in this second round. Oh, no way. Oh my god, everyone's saying that the stream got shut down on YouTube. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Not good, boys. Not good. We got shut down again. Probably got banned then. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Oh well, boys, we'll keep it going on we will keep it going on Twitch. Do you know what? I think I might just stop streaming on YouTube. I might just stop. It's so frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I might just stop streaming on YouTube. I might be done with it, boys. Because it's so hard, man. You never know what's breaking their rules and what isn't. Sometimes they let you do these research videos under fair use copyright. Sometimes they won't. Yeah, Twitch is way better, man. Well, I think we'll stick to Twitch from now on. You are rightly, Dosis. Yeah, YouTube is going downhill bad. So, yeah, I think... should we see if we're banned on YouTube? Is that another 3-month ban? Or is it just going to be a warning? We'll soon find out. Oh, it's still... I tell you what, let's disconnect from YouTube. Let's disconnect. And we'll just keep going on Twitch, guys. Twitch and Mixer. Hit me up on Twitch and Mixer, man. We don't even need YouTube. I just hope I didn't get banned again. That would be like the second time I got banned. We will check. Did I survive or did I get banned? I don't think I'm banned. So that's a bonus. At least we can still do those fight day streams, right? But yeah, I don't think I'm banned, boys, which is great news. But we just got the old stream shut down. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Alright, boys, anyway, let's crack on with this fight. Sorry, let's get my head back in the game. Thought I'd been banned again, but no, we are still alive on YouTube, I think, boys. I just can't risk it anymore, mate. You never know when they're gonna flag when they're gonna flag you, so I'd rather just stick to the old Mixer in Twitch. Alright, so Victor landing a low blow on Landwehr. Landwehr seems like a bit of a hothead, man. He seems like a bit of a wild horse. Seems a little bit crazy. Which obviously isn't a good thing. But then, does Herbert Burns have the power to hurt him? Probably not. All you'd be worried about is him slipping on a banana skin and getting taken to the ground. And Landwehr does complain a lot. He was complaining about the eye poke in the first round. Refused to touch gloves with Victor. He's getting very aggressive here now. Landwehr possibly doesn't have the best fight IQ. He is more than happy to throw down and get into a scrap. And also, because he's getting so, what's the word? Because he's getting so emotional, it's giving openings to Victor. So, like, in that first round, when he stuffed that initial takedown, he should have just circled back to the centre of the octagon and gone back to his boxing. Instead, he's kind of calling Victor on to have a scrap with him, and Victor catches him with a right hook and follows up with a head kick that drops him. It's kind of like, if you just focused on fighting, you're actually pretty good. Like, when Landwehr is actually focused on fighting, there's a lot to like about him, but for me, he just seems a little bit too scrappy. You know, he's taken so many unnecessary damage in this fight. You know, he wants his opponent to stand and trade with him. People aren't going to do that, man. You know, Victor's just going to get on his bike, you know, pick him off as he comes forward. That's what the majority of people would do, because Landwehr clearly's got some decent power, some decent combinations. But look, his face is busted up pretty bad. And what's interesting is, Landwehr wins this fight. And at the moment, is this 5 rounds or is this 3 rounds? So it's 5 rounds, okay. So I was just about to say, like, see a bit of Landwehr's takedown defense here. Very nice. Does a good job of stuffing that takedown. And again, look at what he does, boys. So he gets it, stuffs the takedown very nicely here. Watch. And does a good job of digging that underhook on the right side. Very, very nice. There it is. There's the right underhook. See if he gets the left one in play. He does. Beautiful. 2 deep underhooks in play. Very, very nice from Landwehr. I like what I'm seeing from Landwehr, boys, for sure. Very, very nice takedown defense. Now, what I would actually really like to see is Landwehr actually getting taken down and see his ground game. Because in this fight, his takedown defenses look decent. Even though Victor's not fully committing to these takedowns, even though Victor clearly doesn't have the best offensive wrestling, what this is showing us is that Landwehr knows what technique he should be using. He's immediately getting those underhooks in play early. He's trying to clear his legs. So just because, you know, we haven't seen him in a cage against a really strong wrestler doesn't mean that there aren't clues there to suggest Landwehr's takedown defense is decent. And remember, when when you're betting on guys at roughly even money, you know, you're gonna have to take on more risk. There are gonna be gaps in information. There are gonna be risk factors. That's okay, you know. Hey, how you doing, Discipline Dan? Good to see you, mate. Hope you're all good, dude. See, this is a concern, man. He literally just stands in front of guys. And, oh, boys, we might have made a huge mistake. Boys, we have made a huge mistake. Wait a minute. This is not the fight between Victor Kolesnik and Nate Landwehr from 2019. This is a fight between them in 2017. Shit. Well, we made a mistake there, boys. We made a mistake. So, Landwehr is only 31 years old. So, he would have, you know, he might have improved a lot since this fight. That is a bit annoying. So, should we see if we can find the more recent one? Let's see if we can find it, boys. Yes, boys, we do have it. Big oversight on my part, but at least we got to see a little bit of him, right? Here it is. Hopefully it loads. Sometimes this website's a little bit dodgy. We will see. Please load. We're getting commercials. Alright, so hopefully this works, boys. We'll go through the comments. Lidos is saying Twitch is way better than YouTube as a streaming platform. Yeah, I agree, man. It is way better. Way better. It is much better, man. I haven't been banned on YouTube. I'm still alive, boys. They didn't ban me. Last time I had a stream shut down for using footage from a UFC weigh-in. I got banned first time, so nice of them to give me another chance. Right, how do I close this down? Is it that? Oh, there we go. There it is. All right. So I think it starts 1 minute 19. So what will be interesting, you know, it's not a complete waste of time, because the good news about watching this fight back to back with his last fight against Victor is we should be able to see, you know, if Landwehr's made any improvements, right? If his striking defense is a bit better, if his fight IQ is a bit better, or if he comes out fighting like a maniac again. So this is M1 Challenge 102, Nate Landwehr against Victor Kolesnik. We will see what we get. Yeah, Matern and Eveb is bringing up a really good... Matern and Eveb bringing up really good points, saying takedown defense should be even better now, or at least not regressed. Yeah, I agree with you, man. This should give us a more accurate reflection of what Landwehr is like. Hopefully he fights a bit smarter. Now, guys, do you know the most annoying thing about YouTube? What I absolutely hate about YouTube is that you know they just pulled the stream. So they pulled the stream for copyright infringement. But they haven't pulled the stream because I've infringed copyright. They've pulled the stream because they think I might be infringing copyright. Creating a completely new piece of work from this work, it falls under the fair use laws. Like it's not violating copyright, which is why Twitch and Mixer let it go. Now, what's super interesting is YouTube pulled the stream as a precaution, but later on, I will literally upload this video to YouTube and there'll be no problems. That's what's so frustrating. It's like they'll ban you for potentially breaking their rules on a live stream, but then if you take that exact piece of content and upload it to their website, because they know it's under fair use, they'll just let you do it. It's so weird, boys. Honestly, it's so weird. Like, I'll upload this video later to YouTube, and they'll be fine about it. I just won't be able to live stream the same video on their platform. YouTube is just so fucking fucked. It's just so stupid. It's a stupid platform. Landwehr does a good job of slipping that right hand there, firing back with one of his own. Throwing that uppercut from a mile away. He's looking for his own takedown here. Oh my god, Landwehr was complaining about the fouls in their first fight, and he is complaining about the fouls again. What I'm going to do, boys, I'm going to use this as a quick opportunity while there's a foul. That is a pretty bad one. Just to take a quick break, because we've been going for quite a while. I'll take a quick break, boys. I'll literally be back in like 30 seconds or there with my chair. But Landwehr... it's fair to say Landwehr is a very emotional fighter. He was very emotional in the first fight when he was getting fouled and was trying to bait Victor into a brawl, and you can see not happy at all here after that foul. Coming out aggressive now. You can see Landwehr is a crazy horse. So, good work from Landwehr getting to the body lock there. Victor looking for the trip takedown, but strong hips from Landwehr. Risky for these boys to play in this position because they don't have the cage as a base that they can use to stuff these takedowns. Landwehr always complains about fouls. He's complaining about a headbutt or something in there. Lands a nice right hand. Very aggressive though. Catches a kick. He almost walked right onto a spinning back kick, but ended up catching it. Vicek is just saying that this guy loves to go to the clinch and the body lock. Will that work into Burns' advantage to pull guard? Yeah, it might do, mate. It might do. Which is why I want to see a little bit of Landwehr's ground game. Is he going to be like the Russian guy, Movlid, that we saw Burns fight, who's just going to be able to muscle his way out of positions and not let Burns get anywhere near a submission? Or is Landwehr going to be, you know, emotional standing up, makes loads of mistakes, emotional on the ground, makes loads of mistakes? Is he going to put himself in a bad position on the ground and end up getting submitted through a lapse in concentration because he's fighting emotionally? the kind of guy that'll get carried away with ground and pound and fall into a triangle or something. So we would like to see a little bit of Landwehr's ground game here. Also, I think that with his striking, he can cause Burns a big problem, because I don't feel like Burns has the power to punish him for his recklessness, and I also feel like Burns won't have the striking defense to prevent Landwehr from landing when Landwehr is coming forward and trying to engage. But would definitely like to see Landwehr's ground game, because if he's, this reckless on the ground, then it's going to be a bit of a sweat with him. Let's skip ahead to round 2. Let's see what we get going here. Jason B saying the Landwehr is quite annoying with the complaining. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, you don't mind the fighter calling out fouls, but when they start to let it affect their performance, it's not good, man. I mean, like every time he's complaining about the fouls, he's taking damage because Victor's capitalising on it. And I think Landwehr is one of these guys that's a little bit guilty of headhunting. So we saw in that first fight that we watched on him, before he started getting emotional, his hands look very good, his combinations look very good, but now that he's fighting angry, it makes him way more hittable. And Victor's just playing the role of Matador, circling away from him as he comes forward and just picks him off. Which means Victor is outstriking Landwehr by quite a wide margin. This is a 5-round fight, so at least we'll get to know a little bit about Landwehr's cardio. What I would say about this matchup is Victor's obviously making Landwehr look quite bad, because he's disciplined enough to just stay light on his feet, circle away, play the role of Matador, and pick Landwehr off as he comes forward. Herbert Burns can't do this. Like, Herbert Burns doesn't have the footwork or the counter striking to do it. It's very difficult to land effective strikes while moving backwards. So Victor's making Landwehr look bad here. Well, obviously Landwehr's recklessness will be a concern if it goes to the ground, which is why I hope we can get to see a bit of Landwehr's ground game. And Nuggets is saying that we get to see a bit of Nate from his back in his fight against Andrei Lezhnev. Oh, that's great news, man. Thanks a lot for letting us know, mate. We'll watch that one next. And you know what? Where we're seeing Landwehr keep going to the clinch like this, I think it might be because he's frustrated with Victor's footwork. Like, he's having real trouble landing on him because Victor's always circling away. So I think by tying him up and making him work in the clinch, it's just out of frustration. Because at this range, Victor's just landing a leg kick, landing a jab, circling away. Leg kick, jab, circle away. And Landwehr's really struggling to land his counters. You see there, he jumps in with a lead left hook. Doesn't really get anywhere near it. And out of frustration, that's why he keeps taking this fight back to the clinch. We're 2 rounds in. This is coming up, 2 minutes left to go in the second round. I think Landwehr is down 2 rounds here, which is interesting because he wins this fight. So something's got to change big time in the next three rounds. Would you let me know on the live stream chat, boys? Are you scoring this fight for Landwehr or Victor? Because I've got Victor up 2 rounds at the moment. Someone said the Nate reminded them of Nate Diaz. I can definitely see that. But you know who he reminds me of more? He actually reminds me of Leslie Smith, who trains with Nate Diaz. Just because I feel like Diaz, he's kind of Diaz is a little bit better defensively, right? He's got that dirty boxing style, a little bit more effective in the clinch, whereas Landwehr is literally like Leslie Smith. He just comes forward, throwing big power shots and hoping that that he can hurt you with something. So this is not good. That is dreadful. Dreadful takedown defense. I don't even know how he got taken down there. He gave up a takedown very easily. Now, the difficult thing about watching these fights is it's difficult to assess Landwehr's ability to work his way back to his feet. I didn't even have time to finish what I was trying to say. So I was just going to say it's difficult to assess Landwehr's ability to get back to his feet, because obviously it's hard to work your way back to your feet when you don't have a cage to wall walk with. But Landwehr literally just stood up twice while his opponent was fishing for a guillotine. That didn't really tell us much. He gets dropped off a head kick again. Got dropped off a head kick from the right power leg of Victor in the big head kick again. Got dropped in the first fight. He's got dropped in the second fight as well. So boys, I think the Landwehr is down 2 rounds big time here, which means he's got to win the next 3. So very interested to see how these next 3 rounds plays out. This could get crazy. This could get absolutely crazy. So Landwehr should win the next 3, right? So Mettern is saying that Mettern and MMA KM is saying that it looks like this guy got robbed twice, because obviously Landwehr won a split decision in 2017, and I mean he's down 2 rounds here, but obviously this is a 5-round fight, so Landwehr has got to do something big in these next 3 rounds. And Eveb M bringing up a good point as well, just saying that when Landwehr is just walking forward like this in zombie mode, it opens him up to the level change from Burns to get him to the ground. So that's a really good point from Eveb. Nuggets is saying he believes his fight against Kazmat Dalgiev is better because he's on his back almost the entire first round. He gets up once, he gets taken down again. I believe this will give more insight than his fight with Lesniev. Oh, thanks for the heads up, Nuggets, mate. So I'm very interested to see what Landwehr gets going here in this 3rd, 4th and 5th round. Super reckless from Landwehr though. Working for his own takedown, trying to sweep the leg. The weird thing is, right, someone was saying, I can't remember who it was, someone said in the live chat that we made a mistake, right? We watched their first fight back in 2017, and his takedown defense looked pretty good in that fight. And someone said, I think it was Matern said, like, the good news is it's unlikely to have regressed since then. What's interesting is I actually think Landwehr's striking looks much worse in this fight than it did in his last fight. Like, he was landing some nice combinations, was showing off some good boxing in the first fight. It was only when, you know, he was starting to bait Victor into reckless exchanges in the first fight that Victor was actually able to land. But in these positions, for example, there you see Victor lit him up with like a 4-5 strike combination there. In the first fight, it was Landwehr that was getting the better of these exchanges, whereas now, he's just getting picked apart. Which is really interesting, because it does actually look like his striking's regressed. Beautiful inside leg kick from Victor. And again, boys, so we're halfway through this round. Victor won the first, won the second. He's winning this round by a wide margin. So Landwehr must do something huge in this. He must do something huge in this final 2 minutes to win this round. Otherwise, there's like no way you can win this fight unless he has giant 10-8 rounds in the 4th and 5th. Yeah, Matern saying that Landwehr has been holding a grudge ever since 2017. So Victor, every time Landwehr comes forward, Victor's doing a great job of just circling away, landing a counter, circling away. Beautiful fight IQ from Victor. Victor's just not getting sucked into these exchanges. Beautiful 3-strike combination there. Finishing up with a leg kick. Great fight IQ from Victor. Now, obviously, Herbert Burns can't do this. Victor's very good. He's making Landwehr look bad. But what is interesting is how bad Landwehr looks here compared to their first fight. So a minute left to go in the round. I'd even say this is Victor's most dominant round of the fight. He's outstruck Landwehr by such a huge margin. Like, Victor is running away with this round. In on a good single leg there, but Landwehr gets the underhooking play on the left side. Very, very nice. Alright, so Victor's up 3 rounds, man. How does Victor lose this fight? Unless he gets, like, knocked down in this last 10 seconds. Right. Literally the only way the Landwehr can win this fight is if he gets 2 10-8 rounds in this 4th and 5th. Otherwise, this is a robbery. This is an absolute robbery. Landwehr looking for the takedown now, in on the body lock. He was in a strong position to get that. Boys, let me know how you're scoring this fight. I've got Victor up 3 rounds here. How does Landwehr win this? Maybe he does hurt Victor bad and get 2 10-8 rounds. Who knows, man? Looked like he wobbled him there. Yeah, it does look like a bit of a robbery, man. Brandy's saying it's a robbery. Matern saying it's a robbery. A very nice uppercut, though. Yeah, Jason B saying Adelaide Bird's 2 sisters are judging. It's crazy, right? Now, what I would say is Victor's obviously an amazing counter-striker, which Herbert Burns can't do. So where we're seeing the pressure finally get to him and Victor slow down a little bit here, Landwehr could potentially do this in round 1 against Herbert Burns, because Herbert Burns doesn't have the footwork to circle away. But then at the same time, it's going to be difficult, because every time Landwehr comes forward and gets overly aggressive, we saw in the fight with Herbert Burns in 1, every time that Landwehr starts to pour it on, Burns is probably just going to flop to his back and pretend to be hurt. And the real question becomes, is Landwehr smart enough not to fall for that trap? Remember what Movlid did? When Burns, flopped to the ground, he wasn't taking the bait and going to the ground with him. He was just backing up and forcing Burns to get back to the centre of the octagon. Or centre of the cage. So, what I'm trying to say is, obviously this is a big round now in round 4 for Landwehr. He could potentially do this to Burns in round 1. We really need to see some of Landwehr's ground game. Do you know what? If Landwehr's ground game is all right, he's probably going to be a decent bet here. But the problem is, we saw him got taken down and mounted so easily that, like, I'm dubious as to whether his ground game will be that good. I'm looking forward to watching him on the ground, though. Anyway, boys, I don't think we need to watch any more of this. We've seen all we need to see in that fight. You know, it's quite obvious to me that Landwehr will probably have a big advantage standing. He's obviously got great cardio because he's just fought at a very high pace for 20 minutes. Although it is worth noting this will probably be his first fight under USADA, so maybe he's built a career on PEDs. I can't imagine there is any drug testing in an M1 challenge. Maybe he's been using diuretics to help him cut weight. Maybe he's been using IVs to rehydrate. So maybe he'll look a lot better without all that on Saturday night. But then the same goes for Herbert Burns. All that stuff might affect him too, because it's his debut. And I can't imagine that the drug testing and stuff is that strict in one championship or Titan FC either. So goes for both guys, which basically evens out. Maybe it means we shouldn't even think about it. But we close that down. Let's get into watching another fight. So now we'll watch Nate Landwehr against Andrei Lesnev from December 2018, so just over a year ago. Let's get into it. We might minimize it actually. Jason B saying this matchup feels like low-level Ryan Hall without the spins versus Darren Elkins. That's a good comparison, dude. And saying if Landwehr doesn't show strength on the ground, this seems like a pass to me. Yeah, I agree, dude. 100%, man. That's what we're looking at here. We're looking at can Landwehr stuff the takedown? Based on what we've seen, there's a pretty good chance. But if the fight does go to the ground, is he going to be able to defend himself? That's the next question we need answered. That looked like it hurt. Both guys clashed with leg kicks there. And also looked like Landwehr really didn't like that last guy that he fought. Fought very emotionally against him. So it'll be interesting. Oh my god. Dropped off a huge left hook there. And striking defense definitely a little bit shaky. We've seen him drop 3 times now in these 3 fights we've watched. Twice off a head kick, 1 off a left hook. Did a good job of defending himself there. Very, very nice scramble. So Lesnev went to take the back. Landwehr realised the threat, rolled to his back to defend from having his back taken, and then immediately jumped on a single leg to scramble his way back to his feet. So very, very nice there from Landwehr, actually. I'm quite impressed with how he was able to work his way back to his feet without putting himself in too much danger. He didn't give his back up. And again, obviously Landwehr's striking defense is a little bit shaky, but Herbert Burns probably doesn't have the striking to expose that. Beautiful outside leg kick there from Landwehr. You can see Landwehr is still hurt here, though. He's in a defensive shell here. You notice how he's been way more aggressive in the other fights. Here, you can still see he's still a bit shaky, still a bit timid since that knockdown. Definitely respects Lesnev's power. But look, what's interesting is this is another fight he wins, right? Yeah, 3rd round knockout. And yes, Landwehr giving up another easy takedown, but does do a good job of using that same single leg to get inside and work his way back to his feet. So very nice from Landwehr so far. On the 2 occasions we've seen him hit the ground, he's been able to stay out of trouble and work his way back to his feet. What I would say about Landwehr, though, or Landwehr, he does look like the kind of guy that would slip on a banana skin and end up on the ground. He's just like very reckless, very chaotic. Yeah, Vicek saying Landwehr will be more physical than Burns too. That is a great point, mate. Might just be able to power out of these positions, right? Very nice level change from Lesnev there on a single leg. Now, this is what is difficult to judge Landwehr's takedown defense. It makes it much more difficult to stuff these kind of takedowns in a ring than when you can use the cage as like a support to stand up. But Landwehr does stuff it. Similarly, it's hard to get those kind of takedowns because when Lesnev drove Landwehr into the ropes, it wasn't like you could then, pin Landwehr against the cage, use the cage to transition from a single leg to double leg and complete the takedown by scooping Landwehr's legs away. So roundabout and swings, man, it's harder to get takedowns and also, work your way back to your feet as stuff takedowns in a ring. Looks like Landwehr from this camera angle has a pretty good size advantage as well. Lesnev looks quite small. I don't know what's going on here, man. Call me crazy, but that first fight of Landwehr's that we watched, his striking defense, his boxing looked pretty good. In these last two fights, his striking defenses look terrible. His striking defenses look really poor in these last two fights. Or last three fights, last two. The first fight we watched, his boxing was pretty good. This guy, man, this guy. Looking very weak on his back now that his opponent's managed to flatten his shoulders out. Alright, into the second round. He does seem very prone to slipping on a banana skin, this guy. Like you wouldn't trust him. What a shame. Showed a lot of promise in that first fight. So Matern is saying he doesn't think he can bet him. Jason B is saying he's going to pass as well. Yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough, dude. It is tough. He looked very weak on his back then. Very, very weak. Matern is saying, did we only watch Burns from years ago? Yeah, we watched the fight with Burns was from 3 years ago, but I did watch his last three from over the last couple of years, which are on Fight Pass. He didn't look much better. So Burns isn't that good. I can assure you, boys, he's not that good. But again, goes to the ground so easily. Let's see how he works out of this position. You can just tell when a guy's weak off their back because their shoulders get flattened out so easily. Like Landwehr looks very weak off his back here. Very weak. I remember how easily we saw him mounted in his last fight. Now I can see why. Landwehr looking very, very weak off his back. Disappointing, man. Very disappointing. Randy Baby's asking what BJJ belt level is Herbert Burns. I'm assuming black belt. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. But he is nasty on the ground, man. You can tell. He is very nasty on the ground. Disappointing, man. Yeah, we don't need to watch anymore, boys, actually. I can just tell that the Landwehr is very, very bad on his back. I can just tell he's very, very weak off his back. You can just tell. You can just tell by the way they look. Like, his shoulders are flattened out. His butt is flat and square on the canvas. He hasn't made any real attempt to create space for himself to get back to his feet. He's trying now, but very weak off his back. Doesn't get anywhere near it. And obviously, Burns is going to be a much higher level grappler than Andrei Lesnev. So what I'm going to do, boys, I'm not going to bet this fight. I'm going to give this one a pass. I've already got 2 bets this weekend, and I don't see any strong positions on this one. Landwehr and Burns have both got huge holes that the other can exploit. So when you look at the holes that Burns has got, poor striking defense, not the best fight IQ where he keeps pulling guard, and on top of that, maybe not the offensive wrestling that he needs to get the fight to the ground, although Landwehr seems like the kind of guy that might gift him a position on the ground anyway. Maybe Landwehr slips throwing a kick, maybe Burns catches a kick, maybe he does fall into a takedown, maybe he falls for one of the trap that Burns sets when he pulls guard. So Landwehr definitely the kind of guy that will fall into these traps when Burns is trying to play games. On the flip side, I don't like a bet on Burns because he does have bad striking defense. He might not be able to get the fight to the ground, and Landwehr clearly hits very hard. Burns can't do what Victor did. He can't circle away from him and pick him off. Doesn't have the footwork, doesn't have the counter striking, and we know Landwehr is very tough. But my problem with Landwehr is obviously he is looking very weak off his back here. If Burns is able to get him to the ground and get into top position, we're literally looking at like a 10-8 round. That's how bad this guy is on his back. Like, Burns will dominate this guy on the ground. So this is one of those fights where Landwehr has a pretty big advantage if it stays standing. Burns has a pretty big advantage on the ground, although will probably struggle to get the fight to the ground. Landwehr is reckless, doesn't have the best fight IQ, and might gift him a position on the ground anyway. So if we look at the current odds, both guys are currently around about even money. I think that's spot on. I think those odds are exactly where they should be. It's like there's no way for you to know. There's no way to know like which way this fight's going to go. It's a total coin flip. The odds are spot on. It is an easy pass for me, boys. Sorry to be boring, but yeah, I'm quite disappointed because at one point Landwehr was looking good. So anyway, nice one, boys. What I'm going to do, I'll just catch up, see if there's any comments. Jason B saying line just came out on Arnold Allen versus Nick Lentz today. Maybe a chance to see if there's any value before the public moves the line. Problem is, dude, I think the public have already moved the line. If we take a look at it, I think Allen opened up at 1.40. He did. He opened up at 2 o'clock, which was 5 hours ago. So Arnold Allen opened up at 1.40. His odds have now declined down to like 1.33. And you know what, boys? I haven't researched this fight yet, but from memory, I wouldn't touch Arnold Allen at these odds. Because from memory, Mads Burnell took him down and caused him big problems on the ground. So did Amirkhani. And Nick Lentz is a very, very skilled grappler. So I haven't researched it yet. Maybe I'd change my mind, but I'd be very surprised if Arnold Allen would be worth a bet at 1.40. And Nick Lentz, do you know what I mean? Doesn't really have any striking. Not the best offensive wrestler, but a high-level grappler when the fight does go to the ground. Lentz is getting old now. He's had over 40 pro fights. I don't know if I'd see a strong position either side there. So that's not too high up on my list of priorities, that fight. Matern is saying, think this is a pretty easy pass. Should we move on to the next one? Yeah, for sure, man. What I'm going to do, boys, after this live stream, I'll grab some food. I'll have a quick bit of food because I can feel myself flagging. And then we will come back, boys, and we will jump into researching another fight. We will jump right back in, boys, to getting into these fights. On the website, we'll do another live stream on the website. Bopham Coach saying, I'm at work and I've been out. Why no interest in Burns? There's no interest in Burns because Landwehr is aggressive, he hits hard, he's tough, and Burns has no striking defense. Also, Burns doesn't have the best offensive wrestling, so he might not be able to get a fight to the ground. Classic striker versus grappler matchup. Burns, big advantage on the ground. Landwehr, big advantage standing. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Eve M saying he's 100% a black belt. Bopham Coach saying Allen at minus 315 is solid. I can't really speak too confidently on that fight because I haven't researched it, but I do remember Allen having some trouble with grapplers in the past, like Amirkhani and Who was the other guy we said? Mads Burnell. So I don't know, man. Alan at minus 315 doesn't get me excited. Lee Dosis is saying, when's the next live stream? I'll have some food now, dude. I'll probably start it again in like an hour. We'll get one more fight in before bed. Solevis is saying, I still like Nate. Sounds good, dude. Andy Man is saying he likes a Curtis and Dos Anjos parlay. Sounds good, dude. Bop and Coach saying, thanks for breaking it down for me. I love the content. Gladly paid sub on the site. Oh, nice one, Bop and Coach. Thanks a lot, dude. I'll do the next stream, boys. I'll grab some food and then I'll do the next stream in like 1 hour's time. So catch me on the website. I'll put a message on the Telegram channel, boys, when we're good to go. I will be back very soon. But thanks a lot, everyone. Nice one for watching. Love you, boys. Take care. I will see you all very, very soon. Unless you're on YouTube. And then I won't, because the motherfuckers have just shut me down. Have a good night, boys.